now a man who's very interested in reducing his carb footprint. Adam Carolla.
Yeah, get it on. Got to get on it, church. We're going to get it on. And welcome to the show. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for telling a friend. We love that about you, right, Gina Grant?
That's right.
Handball, Brian.
Everybody get up and raise your hand if you got fat from eating too many apples.
Well, a lot of diversity in the music world coming into the show today. Gene Simmons of Kiss, obviously.
I was fucking pissed I'm not going to see him.
A little bit later, we'll hang out.
Yeah.
You'll see him.
Yeah,
Meander in the hallway.
Wheeler Walker in Studio Junior, that is, got an album out called Sex, Drugs, and Country Music. It'll be available April 15th, wherever you listen to music. Congratulations on selling out the Ryman, which I was at an event at a few months back. Beautiful.
I wish I'd known, man. I would have come by. Yeah, I'm really psyched about the Mother Church of Country Music. Been a goal of mine since the beginning. And I was kind of nervous about putting on sale. Then 40 hours later, 8 hours later, tickets are gone because, as you guys know, I'm the king of music. No, I used to say I'm the king of country music. Now I'm just the king of music.
King of all music.
Yeah.
Well deserved.
Is
Gene Simmons probably agrees.
Now the Ryman. Well, maybe we should listen to one of your releases, a single, "Fucked by Country Boy."
Oh, that's the new one, yeah.
Yeah, the new one. Maybe we should listen to some of that, and then we can kind of circle back to Ryman because I think it'll add some context for some of the listeners. Ryman is a church. Can I just make this plea? If there's any tech guy, music guy, or whoever guy who's in charge when they do the big political fundraiser or the event, and here comes Stacey Abrams or Hillary Clinton, if you could just swap out Born in the USA or whatever you're planning on playing, whatever Fleetwood Mac offering for "Fucked by Country Boy," I would be a fan for life.
A southern candidate would fucking kill with this, you know?
You're 100% right.
Yeah, you're right.
You know,
I feel like you are going to be approached by many political candidates.
Well, I'm getting them right now. Have you ever been licked by a hick with a hillbilly dick or got a rash on your snatch from some trailer trash? Then, girl, you need to get fucked by a country boy. I mean, that's politics right there.
Poetry.
It really is.
Yeah.
I didn't think about the politics when I wrote it, but when you say it, it is pretty political.
So the Ryman, which I played at, was a big church. I mean, stained glass windows, pews.
Unmistakably a church.
You stand on the
The Mother Church
stage.
of Country Music.
Yeah, it's about 2,000 seats or maybe more. It's a big venue.
Old
it's
school
beautiful,
megachurch.
and it goes way back, more than 100 years.
It's got pews.
Yeah.
Pews, yeah. So you're going to be up there blaspheming against our maker
Well,
with some of these songs.
See, I have a bone to pick with that because what I'm doing is something they don't do much anymore. Is I'm actually using it for what it's supposed to be used for, which is playing real country music.
He gets
Well
it.
said.
Wheeler Walker gets it.
Yeah.
Full disclosure, that was the 51st time I've heard that song. I listened to it a lot on YouTube in the last week or two. That's 100% true. And let me paint a picture for you. Here I am with my laptop, listening to my headphones. Christy, my wife, is on the couch next to me, and I'm laughing, and tears are coming down my face. And she goes, "What are you listening to?" And I simply unplugged the headphones to the chorus. She goes, "What is this?"
You said fucking genius.
Yeah,
right?
it's
Yeah,
fucking
you
awesome.
said it's
Is what
my
it is. So I
anthem,
put the
baby.
headphones back in and enjoyed myself.
Has the Bublé camp approached you, the Michael Bublé camp? Because he's doing some covers now,
I
too.
kind of blocked my phone with all that shit.
So he may have.
The answer is probably,
Because he's hooking up with Paul McCartney doing a song.
Yeah.
I'm
yeah,
assuming
McCartney reached out.
Oh, he reached out to you.
I feel like
because he hasn't had a songwriting partner for years. I said, dude, I'm busy. I'm promoting an album.
big time.
Oh, so you just kind of
Yeah, I
gave
just
him
don't.
the hi-hat?
Songwriting.
Well, it's just like there's only so many hours in the day, and I got to
Right.
fly out
True.
to this shithole, California. I mean, I love seeing you guys, but fuck, I hate this place.
Yeah.
But promoting a independent album when everyone else has got these giant fucking bullshit corporations behind them, it takes a lot of fucking work,
Now, why is it? Why haven't the big companies reached out to you?
Oh, they have.
Oh, okay.
And I tell them, because I own my masters, my goal is, my goal since I was a kid is I do not want a fucking boss. And when you sign with the record label, you got a boss. You know that guy, what's his name, who got, all that, Morgan Wallen. He didn't
Right.
get canceled by the fans. He got canceled by the label, the agents. He's got 10 bosses.
He was in his driveway, drunk with a bunch of dudes, dropped some N-bombs. Neighbor filmed it, and then he.
Well, I don't want to. For me personally, I don't want to get into what happened. My issue is put it out yourself, own it yourself. I'm not saying that you should go do that, but you do. Whenever you can do whatever the fuck you want, you know.
eliminate the middleman.
Yeah, I own my shit. I ain't got to talk to these. So these record companies come to me. They do come to me all the time because they want a piece of what I'm doing. And I go,
sure.
So I get 100% right now. What are you going to offer me? You can't offer me 200%. And they go, well, we're gonna take 50% in exchange for what? They're gonna get me on the radio? Bullshit.
No.
They're gonna get me.
Can't happen.
They're gonna have me open up for Luke Bryan? No,
Probably not.
It's just a bunch of fucking bullshit. They're just basically what they're doing is. To translate, they're saying, we want some of your money. And I say, go fuck your mother. Then actually,
Respectfully.
How have you actually said that?
Say, like,
no, I mean,
family
that's
member.
literally my words.
Yeah.
Okay. And what about these guys? Like, I was watching Extra on TV the other day, and this whole fluff piece on Keith Urban, and he's going to Vegas, and he's doing a residency. I think he's going to take Adele's place. Any thoughts on some of your contemporaries? You know, Keith Urban. It looks a little fit, a little pretty. He's
Very
from
Australian.
Very Australian.
Yeah.
I've been dying to play. I want to do, because I'm a big Elvis fan. I think that the Vegas thing would be fine, but, I just don't get the guys. I don't know how you're writing tunes and spend that much time playing guitar. Where's your time to get that fucking fit, Spend more time on your vocals, maybe. Spend more time on the songs, because what he's putting out is fucking dog shit. If you're that ripped and you're making music that bad,
Someone's got to give.
Your priorities are messed up.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'd rather you have a belly and make some good music.
There you
Yeah.
go.
We
It's Adele lost all that weight, and now she sucks.
Oh, yeah. Good point.
It's a good point that she's spending too much time on one of them yoga balls and not enough time.
Yeah, she's fucking. She
Writing
was
down
great when
lyrics.
she was bigger, and now she lost all that weight, and she fucking stinks, man. It's a goddamn bore.
Yeah.
Because she's thinking. You can hear it in the song. She's thinking about chicken fingers while she's singing. She's hungry,
Yeah, I can see it.
You think
Now,
that
when you-
translates like a longing.
Right. But when you put it that way, if your math is correct, you must be a big Lizzo fan because she wears that shit on her sleeve and everywhere else. And
Sure.
She doesn't own a sleeve. I would like to purchase
That's
her
actually a good point,
sleeves.
yeah.
no, that's a very, you're right.
Yeah, no, I do, but I've got that song "Go Big." I go big or go home. I like big women. I don't like.
Same.
I don't like skinny girls. Maybe just from growing up in the South. So.
So you'd be into old Adele.
Yeah, I was into old Adele. And then
And current Lizzo?
she fell, and I do like current Lizzo, but Adele fell for the trap. I'm famous. I gotta be skinny. No, you don't. You can do whatever the fuck you want. But then every guy has to listen to his girlfriend or wife listen to Adele. And the dirty secret was we all kind of dug it before.
Yeah.
And we pretended that, I'll turn this shit, I'll put on Metallica. But it was actually pretty good. And then we all, last Christmas, is my theory, is we all had to listen to that new album. And we were all bored fucking senseless. Because the new album is a fucking bore. Because she's fucking hungry. And it sucks.
Yeah. There's a video of you being kicked out of the Country Music Hall of Fame from a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I went to there's a band called Florida Georgia Line that they're kind of like a boy band, but they're grown men, and I think they're married to each other, but I'm not sure about that.
Okay, we'll look into
We
it.
can look. We can verify.
They're definitely married. I don't know, to women or to each other, which either way is cool with me. But it's just pure pop, and they got an exhibit at the Country Music Hall of Fame, and I'm not gonna take that shit lying down. So I went down there and I let them know that Florida Georgia Line does not belong here, and I protested, and they fucking kicked me out. And they said I need a permit, and I don't know how to do that to protest it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm watching myself. How mad I was.
Pop music. That wasn't country. That was pop.
I think they were more mad that I was losing them customers because people were freaked out that I went nuts.
Now you're going in.
Oh, boy.
This is where I got dicey.
Can't do that.
They said they were called cops.
Don't buy a ticket, dude. Don't buy a ticket. It's pop. The Georgia Line will not replace us. Real country music only.
Oh, they're calling security.
He's intimidating this guy.
Yeah, I just got a problem with Florida Georgia line. But this is a country music.
Sir, you can't do that.
Is there a Florida Georgia line country song that I can hear? Any country they do?
You can go outside and pull it up on Google.
Okay, Google it. I'll Google it. Maybe they are country and I don't know. So I gotta leave. Please. But don't I have, as an American, I got a right to protest?
It's nothing. You can't do.
I just got kicked out. I got kicked out for pointing out the truth. No.
Back on the curb.
That's peaceful, right? What's that? You're gonna call the police on Florida Georgia line or me? The only pussy that should be in the Country Music Hall of Fame is Reba's big, fiery red bush, you know? Should be the Pop Music Hall of Fame if they're gonna have Florida Georgia line. Man, Florida Georgia line, man, they own the cops. They wouldn't let me do it. Motherfuckers.
Wheeler, are you in the Country Hall of Fame?
I am not, which was part of my issue. Is if that's what they're putting in, I got no chance. You know, this new fucking pop bullshit. I mean, my thing is do what you want. I don't mind, but don't call that country music. You're dancing around. You know.
What is their
got,
big
like-
song? Is
No,
Florida?
it's dog shit.
We did one for Can Adam Take That Tune or whatever.
Oh,
it
you
was.
probably liked it.
It was actually okay. But it was pop music. Like, oh, you must have a real problem with Rascal Flatts.
Oh, Brian hates
mean,
that.
They
that's pop music.
they stink. Yeah, I mean, I you know, I've just learned. I honestly just think I'm just getting old. You know, I'm just like this new shit. Maybe it's what like I'm turning into my dad, like everyone is. I'm just like, this is not country music.
Oh.
This is just pop. And then I listen to the new hip hop. I go, I want Run DMC. I want LL Cool J. I like the old shit. Maybe.
Everything's watered down now.
What
Yeah,
do you think
but-
about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame with a lot of rap getting in there now? Dolly Parton.
Dolly
bowed
agrees.
out.
Dolly said this isn't a country music hall of fame.
Well, I that don't bother me as much just because I felt like, you know, Dr. Dre, LL Cool J, those guys had a fucking rock and roll attitude at least, you know, and were, you know, had that fuck the man attitude, which to me is rock and roll. I mean, you know,
Point.
do I think Metallica should have a bigger exhibit than
Kraftwerk.
yeah,
Devo?
exactly. Yeah, exactly. It should be like tiers, you know. You should have, you know. I actually played Cleveland. I stopped by the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and it's pretty cool. But it's just like, I think the issue too is like, what is it, 25 years or something
Yeah.
after your last
Right.
album? So it's like, I think they're just running out of people, you know. Because rock and roll, when's the last good rock and roll band?
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, what are they gonna do? They got to put in rap now. There's nothing left.
oh yeah, never thought about the attrition side of this.
Wheeler's got to have an issue with Taylor Swift. I mean, she went to pop skinny. You know what I mean?
Yeah, forgot she started in
Started
country, right?
Country, transition to pop.
Well,
Yeah.
I think my bigger issue with her is I don't think her country was that country. It was just, and it felt like in fairness to her, it was just it was kids music. I mean,
Right.
That is
my
true.
niece likes it. It was made for kids. It's not made for me, but you know, no. But to answer your question, I don't like her.
Okay, fair enough.
And Keith Urban works out too much.
Yeah,
Yeah, I agree.
I got two issues with Keith Urban. One, he works out too much, and two, he sucks.
Okay.
In that
Take
order?
those two away, and I'd have no problem with you.
So, are you? What are you out here? You're doing promotion out here?
Yeah, and I came out here to see you guys, and then tomorrow, I don't know if I'm allowed to say I'm doing the only TV show that'll let me on the air.
Ooh.
And so I'm going to do that. Can I tell you my favorite thing? So yesterday at rehearsal in Nashville, this TV show, which is probably just their bosses, corporate, whatever, made them come give me a COVID test, and I fucking nailed it.
Oh,
but I'm like, so what is that? What's that fucking for? So I'm now I got the negative. Now I'm gonna get on a plane with fucking 100 filthy people, fly there, and this what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah. Kinda
I know.
negates it.
I felt the same way about like when we would go. We got a contact trace. We got a contact. How's that work? I was in an elevator with some guys on Wilshire,
Right.
and now I got their
track them down?
I got the spelling of their last name while they're in the six
Well,
floors.
I came out
was
here
with
like a
them.
month ago to help because one of the guys who mixes my records out here, and it must have gotten a lot better because a month ago they were making you show cards to fucking take a shit.
That's right.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
But
the
was
guy
it?
in the
Is it?
bathroom.
Am I right that it must be getting better?
They're
Feels like
loosening the leash a little bit.
yeah, but it was bad then.
It's polling bad now, so they kind of went, fuck
Exactly,
it.
yeah.
People don't
No
like
longer
it.
an issue.
All right, Walker, you want to hang out with us and do some news?
I want to hang out with you guys as long as you'll have me.
All right. Well,
I want to hang out with you guys till Gene Simmons shows up.
Perfect.
Well, he's coming. I watched that doc. I don't know where. I just say Netflix now, but it didn't necessarily have to be on Netflix. But it was an interesting doc on that guy. That guy, man, the goddamn work ethic on Gene Simmons is crazy.
And clean and sober always, yes?
Yes, he's one of those guys that just didn't. Well, I think he's got we got an up close look at what
Right.
it does
Yes,
to people,
absolutely.
especially
And
in
Paul
his
Stanley.
profession. Right. It's
And he
called
kind of a marketing genius,
Oh,
right?
my God,
Don't they have like kiss coffins?
Yes.
Yeah, they got kiss everything.
I mean, I'm
Bowling
not
balls.
saying that as a joke.
No, they
No,
they truly do have kiss coffee.
Yeah, and they
Yeah.
probably can't keep them in stock.
All the fans.
With all those rock and rollers dying.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's true. I wonder if anyone of note has gone in a kiss coffin. They should.
Yeah, someone
I'd
should.
be down. I mean, I've literally been pulled out by my belt buckle from being crushed in Kiss concerts. I mean, I've gone to like 9 Kiss concerts.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I'll
I've
get
been to
one.
a couple, and yeah, I mean, they still got it. Just I dig it. Though, can I give my one kiss note?
Please.
Yeah.
And I don't tell Gene Simmons, but
Okay.
so I was at the concert, right? Mm-hmm. And they play Beth. You guys know that
Sure,
song.
yeah, ballad.
But that one has got like orchestra and stuff, so the band doesn't play, and it's just the drummer, Peter Criss. He's
On a stool.
on a stool singing, and I'm just like, I'm in Kentucky, there's 20,000 drunk people, stoned. I'm just like, there's like 25,000 drunk, fucked up people watching a grown man dressed like a cat singing karaoke.
Yeah.
And we're all fucking loving it. I mean, if you can do that,
Yeah.
more power to you.
Well, and I think the rest of the band probably has to take a shit or pee or something
Yeah.
at them. They get
they
like
had plenty
5
of time to
minutes.
take a shit.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll broach that delicately with Gene.
Yeah, I just think it's time to retire that song. You know, it doesn't fit with the rest of the
The
fire
song,
and stuff.
the orchestra is pre-taped. I mean, they don't have 20 pieces
Exactly, that's
out
what I'm
there,
saying.
right?
Because
They don't play the Philharmonic.
So it's like that's what I'm saying. It's like karaoke, you
Right.
know, in the middle of a fucking rock and roll set. It was the one time where when you're stoned and it kind of everything just hits you. It's like this is kind of weird.
Yeah.
Get it.
All right. Yeah, 50 years they've been playing pretty much.
Man,
I mean, they started when they were like, I don't know, 18, 19 in New York. All right, Gene, let's do some news.
You got it.
Give me the news with crack, news with Gina Grad, breaking, viral, weird crime, protest, politics. Give me news with Gina Grad, stuff they saw on TMZ, Joe Biden, Kamala. Need news with Gina Grad.
The news with Gina Grad.
Speaking of Kamala, I wanted to tell you guys we finally got around to watching Impeachment, the American scandal about Monica Lewinsky and Bill Clinton. Clive Owen plays Bill Clinton, and as you know, Beanie Feldstein plays Monica. It's amazing. Of course, Sarah Paulson plays Linda Tripp because she's in all Ryan Murphy stuff. But we were kind of young when all that stuff was going on. I didn't really understand why the main players were the main players. Linda Tripp, fucking bitch.
Yeah,
Like, did her so dirty.
I know.
But I was like too young to understand.
She's almost
what was
as
really
bad
happening.
as the guy who filmed the country singer dropping N-bombs
Sure.
in the driveway.
Sure.
Not
Yeah,
quite
I
at
was-
that level, but
Yeah. I was
going
pretty
to say the same
Benedict
thing. It's just like
Arnold-y.
you don't. She got to blow the president. Just keep it to yourself.
Thank you.
know?
Exactly. Anyway, I recommend it. It's
Is
only
it
a few months
actually
old.
good or is it shocking?
No,
you?
it's
I haven't
it's
seen
really
it.
good.
It is really good. I'll
yeah,
watch it.
I mean, I'm learning a lot. It seems to be pretty accurate, but I'm not Wikipediaing along with the episode, but it's great.
Do they show the act?
No, they dance around it a lot. They do show the dress.
Oh, wow.
So let's talk about the Taliban. They've
Sweet.
decided to go back on their word, allowing Afghan girls to attend secondary school. Thousands of them arrived for the first day of school, super excited. They all got turned away. New reports say that Afghanistan's new rulers reopened schools for boys and for girls. Yeah.
If I was in Afghanistan and I was 11, I would be transitioning right now. I'd be
Yeah.
like, hold on. Girls aren't allowed to go to that place I never want to go to again. Yeah. Let me find a skirt. Is there a husky section?
You go reverse Yentl.
I go female
Yeah.
and then go, hey, man, I'd like to do some book learning, but what are you going to do?
There's a country song in here somewhere, but I just don't know. Is there a rhyme for Taliban? It's probably a tough one.
Oh, we got Afghanistan and Taliban.
Right.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
Serving that up.
I'll work
ladder.
on it this afternoon.
Yeah.
Well, when the militant religious movement ruled in 96 to 2001, girls weren't allowed to study, but they said, no, it's going to be different this time, baby. But no, the kids are
I would
going
say
home.
the right balance for females and how we treat them is somewhere between Afghanistan and Santa Monica. I feel like maybe they've overdone it.
swath.
I think they went a little too
Lot of room
much
in there.
little too much empowering going on over there on the west side. You're
Sure.
not the boss of me, old man.
Right. Business
My
bitch.
dad's a lawyer.
Yeah.
I think we just bring it somewhere. Maybe we find Indiana.
Yeah, somewhere around the Dakotas.
1987, 88. You know what I mean? Let's not reel it back too far,
much.
but definitely get to the mid-ish 80s in a,
That was when America was
Midwestern
great.
kind of town. Well, for me, yeah.
Right.
It's awesome.
Well, let's talk about Florida. Now, DeSantis...
Not Florida-Georgia line.
No,
Please,
I would
please.
never do that. I don't want to
Thank
get
you.
punched. Florida's officially the largest state to mandate a financial literacy course that is required for high school graduation. CNBC reports that on Tuesday, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis signed this bill, SB 1054, into law. The legislation was unanimously passed by both the state House of Representatives and the Senate in early March. He says it'll provide a foundation for students to learn the basics of money management, understanding debt, understanding how to balance a checkbook. Not that I don't know anyone who's still doing that, but still, it's great. And the fundamentals of investing. And the new law will be required for students next year, and they can't graduate without it.
Good. I've always
It's great.
talked about this. It's something there. So there's like I said, we got rid of shop, music cares. It's all about sorry, Wheeler, but a big push out here to get everyone. Sheryl Crow's Sting's going to talk about how important music is. We'll get rid of all the mechanical, so the stuff that has an application in the real world. I took baking, and there was a whole home ec thing. I made myself a tie-dyed pillowcase. I ceramics.
I had a pillow too.
I had sewing.
I have a pillow.
Yeah, it's sewing,
But
ceramics,
you're
cooking.
so right, man. My first tour, I came back and I lost $1,000, and after touring like 20 venues, and I was just like, I literally said, no one taught me this shit in school. No one taught me economics. I didn't fucking know. Like, what is there anything more important than fucking knowing how to spend your money?
Well, we're talking about, like, we have to empower young people. Have the power. Well, fucking teach them anything about finance, please.
And by all means, teach them about predatory credit cards in college.
Right.
Because that's where they hooked me the first time, because I got a slinky in the quad if I signed up for a credit card. And it was a giant, like a comedy slinky.
And tell them if your drummer wants a raise, tell them to fuck off.
Yeah, that's part of it.
See,
that's life lesson.
You really went out and played 20 gigs and came home down
Yeah, you know what's
1,000?
funny too is so my manager wanted to take there's the word again I didn't learn these words, gross. He wanted to take a piece, a guy who's since been fired, take a piece of the gross of the money the venues paid me, and I lost $1,000. So the conversation.
So he was getting a piece of the gross, not the net, after you backed out all the expenses.
I lost $1,000 and he made like 10 grand. I sat down. I said, does that sound right to you? He's like, well, that's how the music business works. I said, not with me, motherfucker. You go back and there's a lot of country musicians that are me. Go manage them.
A lot of, like that scene in the Blues Brothers, where they went and played country bobs, and at the end they thought they were getting paid, but they drank so much beer, ate so much.
Well, that's why I get jealous of the stand-ups who just show up with a fucking microphone. I got a band, I got a van, I got a bus now, and we got sound and all this shit. Like, I wish I could just fucking get up there and just with an acoustic guitar maybe or something. Maybe I'll figure it out.
Yeah, do an acoustic set.
do
Do
Unplugged.
Joni Mitchell shit.
That's right. Well, I also heard, and maybe Wheeler, you can tell me if this is correct, that generally in the music business, and maybe we talked about it on this show, that like you commit to an album, you're a young, shiny up-and-comer, and they front you the money, and then you make a second album, and you're already in debt from the first album. So you kind of can't catch up. You're like an indentured singer.
That's 100% true, and that's why I do my albums independent, which is
Smart. I
pay for it myself. If I make enough money from the album, I use that money to make a second album. And then you keep going, then it's risky, but if you're good, it pays off.
Yeah.
People dig it.
You own your masters.
I own my masters, exactly.
How long are we going to keep using masters? Because the master bedroom has gone to the primary suite, right?
Yep.
We may have to get rid of that.
Your precious beloved cylinders.
My master cylinder, yes.
Yeah.
I never thought about that. But yeah, I think it's important to own your masters, and no label's going to do that. And I've had, also speaking of fucking LA, is all these people come to me all the time because they want a piece of the greatest artist in the world.
Sure.
And they go, we want to make a movie. We want to make a Wheeler movie. And okay, what do you, show me, give me a contract. They try to flash a bunch of money. And also, we want to own your masters. Get the fuck out of the room. See you later, you know?
Go fuck your mother.
Yeah. Go fuck your mother. Yeah.
Right.
But these guys do it.
Yeah. Well, let's talk Alec Baldwin. He's back to work. He's going to star in a pair of Italian Christmas movies, according to Deadline. He'll team up with his brother William, or as we know him, Billy, to shoot 2 hybrid animated and live-action movies in Italy, which are respectively titled Kid Santa and Billy's Magical World. The Baldwins will appear in the live-action part of the comedies. These movies are Alec's first since the debacle with Rust.
I would say debacle is a light word.
It's too light?
Yeah.
Yeah. What
More
would you
than
prefer?
a debacle.
Tragedy.
Felt light. No offense to you.
No,
but it felt
sure.
a little.
Like clusterfuck might be better than debacle. You're right.
Yeah, I think he's right.
And that movie Rust, there's no way, shape, or form any of that ever comes out or shows up anywhere.
I have no clue how this works, but I would imagine, if nothing else, the estate of Helena Hutchins wouldn't allow it.
Well, we have precedent.
Twilight Zone came out.
Right. Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, wasn't there a Bruce Lee's son did some?
The Crow.
Crow came out.
Did that come out?
Shit.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, they're
Fucking-
$10 million into that movie.
Yeah.
They probably shot most of it. No pun intended.
Wow.
Yeah.
Then again, Alec, being an executive producer on the movie, would probably like that movie to just go away.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
It's, right now I think the movie's called Evidence, right?
Yeah. It's essentially Evidence. That's the new name of the movie.
Very good point. Well, Conor McGregor is in some more legal trouble.
What?
Yeah, he was arrested Tuesday in Ireland for driving very dangerously. According to the Irish Independent, McGregor was pulled over in West Dublin in a Bentley Continental GT after allegedly committing multiple traffic offenses. This is what his rep, Karen Kessler, says to TMZ. He was on the way to the gym and he was stopped for alleged traffic violations and was taken to the station. He was given drug and alcohol tests, which he passed and was released. He does have a court date next month. If convicted, he could face up to 6 months in jail.
He's he's pretty much got one speed. I think this is our problem. You know,
He's a not a dimmer switch.
yeah. It's like you get one of those German shepherds to protect your house and they
Right.
bite your kid. You know what I mean? That's just kind of that. And you go, what? Why are you doing this? It's like, hey, this is why I'm so good at my job.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm
Fuck
good at
yeah.
this shit.
People don't
Right.
like Conor McGregor because he drives slow. They don't want to slow drive.
They don't want to
Right.
slow driving. Right. That's
to prove
They
right.
don't want him to
himself.
stop at stoplights and that bullshit.
Yeah, we don't obey traffic
Right.
rules.
No, he's keeping appearances.
But he has a
Right.
baby and he has a wife. I'd like to think he's not, bouncing anybody off a wall. He lives with.
I don't know where he's going UFC wise. Like he had a real bad compound fracture break, like a real nasty break. He's still has all the attitude,
Right.
but I'm just not sure if the skill is what it is. And it starts. It's kind of interesting when you watch. I don't know why. I was watching a Formula One doc with Michael Schumacher, and they go like, "Yeah, you retire at 34 because all the guys in F1, most of them, they get in when they're 19, and they're the height of their powers when they're 23 and a half or something, and then you get to 34, and it's like, they always say the same thing. They go, the openings that I used to be able to get into, I can't get into them anymore. It's too fast. It's so fast that you got to make a decision in a millisecond. Like, do I slide in here? Do I slide out? Whatever it is. It's like, couldn't do it at 30, 35. And you think, well, it's driving, like you're not,
Right.
you're not in the NFL, but it's like my brain couldn't work that fast. And you kind of wonder with the UFC, especially in the lighter weight divisions, it's that hesitation, that
Right.
millisecond, that opening. I could see it affecting things.
Yeah, and if you say they start at 19 and they're like, the darling and they're the best at 23, that's still before you're allowed to rent a car legally. So maybe they want you with that dangerous point of view where your brain's not totally developed.
They have a little invincibility is good. Yeah. That's why they make good soldiers.
Yeah, probably not thinking too much could be a problem there.
Yeah.
You ain't got time to think in
That's
that
right.
way.
Yeah, McGregor wants to fight with Kamara Usman, who's I think McGregor would be. I think he'd be a 4.5 to 1 underdog on a fight like that.
Well, there was some talk of trying to get Mike Tyson to fight Jake Paul, and he said he would do it for $1 billion. So I don't know if that's going to happen.
Seems a
For a billion or the B.
Seems a little high, but I don't know.
Yeah, but that's how you negotiate, right? To $500 million.
Tyson was out here in L.A. the other night watching a comedy show, I guess, and somebody wanted to fight him, and then somebody pulled a gun out and started swinging the gun around.
Well, if your rate to fight's $1 billion and a guy walks up to you and wants to fight in a club, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Can't do it for free.
Yeah.
Well, and then
pay the price.
I just saw a couple of the pictures on TMZ, which I'm sure the ones you saw. I saw a picture of like him laughing, having a good time. Somebody pull a gun, and then them hugging.
Yes.
Like hugging it out at the end.
He hugged the guy.
God bless Mike Tyson.
Isn't the point of being Mike Tyson that you don't need a gun?
Yeah, I guess.
Well, Mike didn't have a gun. The other guy swinging it around.
Yeah.
A team of scientists said Wednesday that they had developed a male oral contraceptive that was 99% effective in mice and didn't cause any observable side effects, with the drug expected to start with human trials by the end of this year. I guess you guys are super delicate because this is the difference between the male pill and the female pill. Female pill uses hormones to disrupt the menstrual cycle, and historic efforts to develop a male equivalent targeted the male sex hormone testosterone. But there's a problem. It causes weight gain, depression. It can increase your cholesterol.
We can't have that.
They won't. It's not good enough for men. So they came up with something else. According to Science Alert magazine, to develop a non-hormonal drug, experts targeted a protein called retinoic acid receptor alpha, which I'm sure Dr. Drew could explain, which plays an important role in cell growth and sperm formation and embryo development, and developed a compound that blocks it. And they've identified the best molecular structure with the help of a computer model. So congratulations, gentlemen.
All right.
I'll tell you why we need these drugs. Because we'll find out in 22 years that the drug that was made for this cures Alzheimer's or whatever. That's always the way it worked. It goes the other direction too. Viagra was supposed to be for hearts or whatever, and it went to your dick. You know,
anti-anxiety medicine was anti-seizure medicine.
Yeah, so we need to work on stuff that has to do with your dick so we can get your brain.
Like Post-it notes, right? Wasn't that something else?
You mean
for your dick?
No, I mean it wasn't for contraception, but I mean some dude was trying to make glue and didn't work.
You're thinking of super glue.
No, I think Post-it notes was supposed to be glue, and it just kind of came off really well.
Oh.
Listen, don't talk to Will Walker Jr. about Post-it notes. I know
no, I'm talking about glue.
You don't want to get in this fight.
Super glue was made, if anyone ever gets super glue, on your fingers and you can't get them apart, it was battlefield wounds, skin flapping, no sutures, you know what I mean?
They use that in the hospital.
Tack it on, Then
it still works.
It turned out the even bigger application was on top of construction hard hats with guys going onto I-beams.
Hanging
off of I-beams. That was
I saw those commercials. Yeah.
That was the biggest part of my childhood. It's like super glue. Come on! Oh, this is going to be awesome. Appointment viewing. We got a guy hanging onto a hard hat. He's stuck to an I-beam. Yeah. And Wheeler is right about the Post-it note, says Chris. What was that story?
Yeah, so in 1968, Dr. Spencer Silver, a scientist at 3M, attempted to develop a super strong adhesive. Instead, he accidentally created a low-tack, reusable, pressure-sensitive adhesive.
See, thank you. I know my fuck. That's why I'm so fucking good.
Yeah, Kanye attended one of his seminars and came up with the idea of using it to anchor his bookmark to his hymn book.
Oh.
And thus the post.
You guys know that whiteout was originally designed to gentrify certain urban communities.
kidding?
And then
Really?
it obviously wasn't very effective.
Oh, I thought it was
And
if you made a mistake when you were typing.
well, then that's what
used it.
they ended up
my
using it
They
for.
were
I
redlining,
didn't-
ironically
I
enough,
see.
neighborhoods on the map.
I didn't
right.
realize
Did you know that pulling out was originally to get them pregnant?
Wow.
That's ironic.
Did not know that.
Yeah, that was the original purpose of it. And then they decided it actually did the opposite.
Wow.
Did not know that.
Well, I really have lost all faith in your gender because when I posted this about the male contraceptive, 99% of the dudes wrote back like, yeah, you know, the guys aren't going to take it. Like, they're just going to lie. And I'm like, why are you guys such pieces of shit?
By the way, the number one group of guys who would do I'm not going to put that in my body would definitely have like a double chili cheese over fat burger for lunch
100%
any
of the
day of the
time.
week,
Yes.
right? Extra mayo,
Yes.
triple baconator.
And wouldn't you want to protect your, like,
They
wouldn't
gotta
it be
get
great?
some, NBA players as influencers.
Yes.
Sign
Yeah.
up some NBA
At
players.
Well,
camp
let's-
for freshman camp.
As far as the NBA,
The
let's
rookie
just
symposium.
let's just eliminate the middleman and start infusing this in Gatorade. Like, hey,
I'm down.
anybody who's a rookie, here's your Gatorade bucket.
It's a great idea.
They dump it on the couch.
Coach
He's sterile.
can't catch wood for 4 years after that.
It's brilliant.
Yeah,
Well, let's.
Well,
yeah.
I'd take this pill, I will say.
you would.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
'Cause
Wheeler
I'm-
crushes a lot of pussy.
I
Yeah.
crush a lot of pussy, and I only got so much. Like I said, I'm an independent artist. I ain't got time for these fucking. I got one kid, and he's fucking driving me up the fucking wall with this.
Yeah.
He needs to fucking eat. He needs diapers. He needs.
Oh, he's little.
Oh, gimme. I know.
He won't shut the fuck up.
Yeah, and he's not even saying anything smart or funny.
No, he's not. And that's the other thing. He's a fucking bore.
Is he Wheeler Walker the third?
He is, but I don't want to say what his name is because then he's gonna get made fun of in school.
Right. You can just call him Trey. That's what a lot of people do who are the third.
Yeah, you just gave it away. So
I'm
yeah.
so
Oh, gee,
sorry.
his name is Trey.
Cut this out.
We work with a Trip.
Is it because he's a third?
Like
yeah,
triple?
Trip. Yeah,
I never thought of that.
I didn't either.
Trip Reeve?
Yeah,
Really? I
I
never knew
think I think he was a third, and now I'm going way back to my childhood. I had a friend, and her mom's or older sister, mom's name was 3. Maybe that's a third in a female name.
But
that
Three?
Females don't
know.
do that, do they?
Not really. I do know one female junior. It's a little weird.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out where the fuck 3 came from.
Doesn't Sarah Palin have a Trip?
Oh, she's
Trip
got a
and a
Trip.
trig?
No,
She's got
Trig.
Trip
I
and a
thought she
Trig.
had both.
She has Trig for sure.
Okay.
And Linda Tripp is the third one, right?
That's
right.
ex-
Right.
That's exactly
Good
right.
point.
Her mom.
Right.
Well, let's talk about penises a little bit more.
but there's only
Yeah.
one Boutros Ghali.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Just looked him up yesterday.
Really?
Because the name was popped in my head and I couldn't figure out why.
Who is he?
UN
Was he a United
secretary?
Nations? Yeah.
As a UN guy or something.
Egyptian, I believe.
Some
All right. Well, guys
I think
are
he worked
still,
with
yeah,
Keith Urban.
That's
Oh,
possible. I'd like to see that. Guys are still scheduling their vasectomies specifically around March Madness. And this year apparently was no different. Urologists across the country have reported up to a 50% increase in vasectomies that were scheduled leading up to the tournament. And this timing is everything for them because getting snipped as the tournament gets rolling makes just for a nice 4-day vacation where you're
the
just watching
recovery.
wall-to-wall games. Yeah.
I appreciate it, but I file that under, like when they go, domestic abuse goes up 86% after the Super
If
Bowl.
your
Like,
team loses.
How delicate is your schedule? I'm basing my beatings and my
Yeah.
surgeries on a sport.
Yeah.
And then whenever things go up, or like there's, they go, well, you remember in New York, they had the big blackouts, there was
That's
no
right.
power for 3 days. And then we got all the kids.
The baby boom.
We're going to start a family based on electricity?
You're right. It
poor
seems
planning.
Yeah, it seems off. I should have scheduled my reduction around the Tonys.
Oh,
Fucked
yeah.
up.
Yeah.
Hey,
didn't think of that.
Wheeler, they say after you get the vasectomy, the first one after that, that's the best one, the first pop after that.
Really? Why is that? Because it squeezes it in?
Or maybe it's just because they go, you can't touch your dick for 9 days.
Probably that.
Maybe that's
That was
it.
a
But
lot to do
I'm
with
still lost on the vasectomy March Madness court because I watched First of all, don't get me into March Madness because Kentucky's my team and we fucking sucked. But I've been excited when Kentucky won, but not like boner excited. I just don't know where the fucking in March Madness.
I think it's the downtime.
The recovery time.
It's the recovery time.
I guess so. Maybe the alcohol.
Maybe.
Probably can't take alcohol after the surgery.
They probably don't recommend it.
Drink alcohol.
Kentucky knocked out by a 15 seed. Ooh.
Wasn't that what were they called? Saint something.
I don't. That's the thing
Yeah,
is
St. Peter's.
we lost.
Peter.
We lost, and I had to look up. I've never even fucking heard the team. My dad texted me and said, you watching this shit?" And I was like, I usually don't watch the fucking first round. And I'm like,
I'll catch you when you're playing someone
Right.
for real.
yeah, it's like this is. I never heard of the team. Don't know where they're from. Someone said, we've got like a. I'm talking we as in like Kentucky's my team, which they kind of are, but. We got like our locker room looks like the fucking Lakers, and they use like a high school gym or something.
The team that beat you.
Yeah, and it's just like again, where are they from? I don't even know the city.
No.
All right, let's do one more, Gina.
Okay. Well, this is something I've been wanting to bring up before it actually happens. 2 stunt pilots are planning to trade planes midair for a special TV broadcast called Plane Swap. The 2 guys are going to fly their planes at an elevation of 14,000 feet, cut the engines, jump out of their planes, then get into each other's planes, restart the engines, and fly away. This is a Red Bull Air Force thing. Its members Luke Akins, who's performing the stunt along with Andy Farrington, who are cousins, very experienced skydivers, and they're going to fly Cessna 182 single-seat aircrafts to the elevation of 14,000 and then literally switch planes. And this is happening Sunday, April 24th, 7 p.m. Eastern Time on Hulu.
And we're doing it over Adam's house. So I'll
Look
be
at these
watching.
fucking idiots, man.
They must have parachutes on.
I mean, they're skydivers, so
You gotta have the
They're
parachute.
okay.
Yeah, I don't
That's
want my
not working.
pilot to be a good skydiver. Why did you?
Yeah, it's a
learn
good
that?
point. I don't like that option. Yeah,
where
this
does
is,
it crash if it doesn't work out?
I will be watching. Well, they must be over a large body of water.
I'd like to think so.
Kentucky's practice court.
I would assume.
And
or
what
a
do you
large
accomplish?
field.
I don't understand.
Fun.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely a challenge. I mean, they're the guys who jump out of the airplanes with no parachute. That's
Do they jump from plane to plane?
Travis Pastrana jumped out of an airplane with no fucking parachute. Wow. I'm guessing these 2 guys weren't greatly affected by COVID protocols. I'm guessing they weren't afraid to go to Trader Joe's.
They'll obviously be masked.
Yeah, they probably had the mask below the nose.
Right.
These are the kind of dudes that were probably told on commercial flights to pull it up quite a few times. When is the date of this?
This is April 24th, and it'll be 4 p.m. our time on Hulu.
Man, I will be watching this. Yeah, Red Bull's all about the plane races. They do the whole pylon racing,
Right,
they
and
call it.
didn't they do the weather balloon into the fucking outer galaxy, and then the guy dropped and...
Yeah,
They're more known now for stunts than drinks.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Hulu running out of shit, huh?
They got an F1 team. I mean, they're...
Are you serious?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
One of the biggest F1 teams is Red Bull.
Wow.
I mean, I have no idea. I have no idea what their business model is exactly. First off, you cannot run a season of F1 without getting into it for $700 million or something. You just can't do it. I mean, it is, I don't know. Chris, you could look up what does it cost a season of F1? But if you want to be the only name on that car,
you pay for it.
It's got to be. I have no idea, but over $100 million. I would say, and they do it for everything times everything. And if a guy's jumping a snowmobile, it says Red Bull on the side of it.
Are people still drinking Red? I mean, remember Red Bull and vodka?
Right.
Remember that combo?
Well, I think maybe probably not in this little pussy town, but I'm from Kentucky. I've seen $100 million in Red Bull sales of my own. That's all they drink there.
They spent $300 million in 2019 for an F1 campaign.
And that's when that meant something.
Probably more. It's probably more than $300 million.
I mean, it does look badass.
Now, I'd be a horrible Red Bull executive because I'd be like, everyone knows Red Bull. Why do we have to spend $400 million for the fucking F1? And they're competitive, but they don't. Mercedes wins.
Yeah.
You would be horrible at that because that's the only reason we know their name is because of fucking F1 and stunts and planes.
No,
with Monster and Rockstar and God fucking knows what else. But that's a crowded market, man.
For Loco.
It is. But I'm saying I feel the same way about Coke. It's like I know Coke. It's there. I don't need a Super Bowl ad.
I'm kind of with Adam though. I don't know dudes who walk in like, God, I want a drink, but goddamn, what's that name again? They know fucking Red Bull.
Yeah,
that's right.
Gives you wings. All right, let's bring it home.
You got it. I'm Gina Grad, and that's the news.
Go fuck your mother.
Gina Grad.
That was the news with Gina Grad.
Well, let me tell you about Keeps. More than 50 million men in the U.S. suffer from male pattern baldness. Keeps is a simple, stress-free way to keep your hair convenient. Virtual doctor consultations and medications delivered straight to your door every 3 months in discreet packaging. Low cost, starts at just $10 per month. Treatment plans are typically half the cost of pharmacy prices. Proven results, and Keeps has more 5-star reviews than its competitors because they're better. And you can go to their website, check out the before and after photos for sure. Prevention is the key. Treatment can take 4 to 6 months to see results. So let's get going and keep that hair with Keeps, right, Dawson?
If you're ready to take action and prevent hair loss, go to keeps.com/Adam to receive your first month of treatment for free. That's keeps.com/Adam to get your first month free. keeps.com/Adam.
All right, we got March Madness coming. Gene Simmons is coming. Wheeler, why don't you hang out for March Madness?
You can help us out.
You were so devastated by your Kentucky team.
You can be a judge.
And I know you want to say hi to Mr. Gene Simmons as well.
I would love to. I know he's a big fan.
So we'll find out. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back right after this.
It's time for Nicaraguan Name That Movie with Adam's buddy Oswaldo. See if you can guess which movie this famous line is from.
The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he didn't existing.
If you said The Usual Suspects.
The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he didn't exist.
You're correct. Now, back to the show.
All right, Wheeler Walker is going to hang out for a few. Gene Simmons is coming in. But first, we have March Madness.
It's time for more of the Big Rants March Madness. Today, we close out the first round with 4 more Furies. But let's recap yesterday's action. In the California Conference, unlike Larry Elder, LA County Health Director Barbara Ferrer was successful in recalling Governor Gavin Newsom. In the Pop Culture Conference, Chris Harrison from The Bachelor made no apologies as he upset newcomer and heavy favorite Pete Davidson. And in the Big Government Conference, like traffic being blocked by a Canadian trucker convoy, the minimum wage was stopped from advancing by Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. In our first of 4 final first-round matchups, in the Big Government Conference, it's the TSA versus Vice President Kamala Harris.
The TSA. First off, the bowl. The bowl that I need to put my keys and my wallet, my sunglasses and my reading glasses, my iPhone 29 in. It's not big enough. It's the wrong fucking shape. It doesn't hold the iPhone. It doesn't hold the glasses, and the fucking glasses fall off on the fucking conveyor belt. It is a shit show. And by the way, why are you hoarding them, bitch? They're always piled up 10 feet high, and you're like, can I have a bowl? No, put it in your backpack. My backpack has 7,000 compartments. Shit goes in. It's a fucking devil's triangle. It never comes out again. It's in fucking Bermuda. Give us a bowl. Make the fucking bowl oblong. Is there anything round that you're putting into it. The bowl is meant to hold water for a dog, not fucking iPhones. And TSA, you motherfuckers need to travel a little more and experience yourself. This is amongst a group of Americans who do the least fucking traveling. It's like a fucking chef that never eats at his own fucking restaurant. Travel and find out what douchebags you all are. Kamala Harris. Oh, thank God for affirmative action. It's so progressive. Affirmative action hires are great if you run Disney or you run fucking Nike, but not if you run the free fucking world. This person is quasi-retarded, or she's dumb, or she has some sort of agenda, which is have Joe Biden have a heart attack because he made the worst decision ever picking a fucking VP, and then you slide in. He's one fucking heartbeat, or she's one heartbeat away from the president. And her interviews, she's never prepared. She doesn't know what's going on. Lester Holt says to her, what's going on at the border? She's like, oh, we're working on the triangle. It's not a fucking offense in college basketball. Or defense. I don't know what the fuck it is. The point is this. We've been to the border. You've been to the border. Well, I haven't been to the border. The most telling part about that whole interview, she goes, I don't know what you're asking. What are you getting at? What are you getting at, bitch? You're the fucking border czar. Have you been there?
Both passionate, interesting take on the TSA. Was not expecting it to go that direction.
I was just about to say, I appreciate the new angle. I did not see the bowl getting dragged into the innocent bowl.
Hey, I don't know how this works, but can I do a TSA rant real fast?
Yeah, go ahead.
I busted my fucking ass for TSA pre, okay? I go with my fucking wife. She beats me every fucking time. She does not have the pre thing. I signed up for fucking 6 months. It took me to fucking get that. I go, honey, first time I go, I'll see you and I'll be waiting there. Fucking, I'll be having a nap. She beats me every fucking time.
No.
Why do I have TSA pre? Don't do fucking shit.
No, you know what it is? It's the bank teller of yore. You have the express bank teller lane with one teller, and then you have the 28 tellers for the general pop, but your line is shorter, but there's so many more of them. There should be a rule. When you travel with someone, they have to pull them out of the general pop and let you get through your pre-check before you're reunited.
Well, how about this? You and if you have TSA pre and you go in at the same time with someone without it, if they beat you, your flight's free.
I know this is unprecedented. I've never seen this happen.
Don't let the extra rant influence you.
I don't know. The tag team rant. I was going toward Kamala, but they both made some extra points in the final inning.
That's true. They went in overtime, and you know what? That's where champions are made.
That's right.
TSA.
TSA.
Sorry about that. I just had to get it.
We liked it.
Turning to the Classics Conference, it's unrinsed coffee mugs versus emotional support animals.
Unrinsed coffee mug. So, this has been an ongoing issue here for, I don't know, let's see, what day is it? Is it Thursday? Friday? 13 years! 13 years I've been begging people. When I bought this warehouse, I just walked in and yelled, where are the mugs? Start fucking rinsing them. I've been trying to convey this idea to everyone who worked here, and it has fallen on deaf ears, and I would argue deaf and dumb ears. But it's really this. It's not, what's your obsession with mugs? What's your obsession with coffee? None. I have an obsession with conveying my own personal wishes to peons who work for me and them executing it. That's it. It's like, oh, what's Van Halen's obsession with green M&Ms? They don't have an obsession with green M&Ms. They have an obsession with people fucking doing what they tell them to do so they don't fucking light themselves on fire when they're on stage. And by the way, speaking of lighting themselves on fire, could you imagine if this place would run, when we had no electricity? It was back in the old days of podcasting, and now had lanterns everywhere. This place wouldn't have made it out the first 2 days without burning to the fucking ground. Emotional support animals?
Yeah.
Oh, God. All right. First off, slippery slope. We let people do it. We put people on the honor system. The honor system was fine in 1952 when we had honor. Nobody has honor anymore. We can no longer use a system that has honor involved with it. And then every fucking nut job in the world wanted to fly for free with their fucking dogs. And by the way, once you land in Boston, you're going to the fucking hotel room and setting up your fucking pooch. And then I'm showing up the next fucking day and rolling around in your your dog dander. But listen, you need your dog. You love your dog. You're emotionally attached to your dog. You think your dog is a person. You know who else really love their dog and listen very intently to their dog? David Berkowitz, son of Sam Killer. Yes, his dog told him to kill. And I'm worried that we're going to be on a flight and your dog's going to whisper to you, just open the hatch. Just a crack. I got to take a piss. Is that where you want to end up? With David Berkowitz? Because that's the company you're in.
Wow. Where do we go?
Hard to foresee emotional support animals.
Hold on. Wheeler may have thoughts on Berkowitz.
Don't like him. I do not fucking like that.
Thank God.
It's a tough stance. But
controversial.
Didn't see emotional support animals making that big of a strong of a run.
I didn't either, but I got to tell you, when Adam paints a picture that I can't get out of my head, I love the idea of having to light the kerosene to go ahead and power up the studio.
The olden days.
Can you fill me in on what's the wash in the glass
Oh,
thing?
people leave coffee rings in the bottom because they're not rinsing their mugs properly. I really liked where he was going with Berkowitz, but I got to tell you, the old-timey charm of the podcasting of yesteryear has really stuck with me.
The old days of podcasting before electricity.
That's right.
Mugs coffee mugs, move on.
Another matchup from the Classics Conference. Campus Safe Spaces versus last year's champion, waiters and tipping.
Campus Safe Spaces. What do you go to college for? Yes, you go there to learn history and engineering and every other agriculture, whatever it is, but you really go there to learn to be an adult, to be a fucking human being, to get mature, to go out in the real fucking world. Why are we carving out a miniature custom van for you to go into every time Ben Shapiro has a thought? Oh, look out, Ben Shapiro's coming to campus and he has ideas that don't align with yours. By the way, go see Ben Shapiro. The first person is the person who disagrees with him gets to talk first. So go do battle with him instead of dry humping your fucking Huggy Bookie in some sort of fucking padded room. It is insane. And the problem is they don't go. I wish they would go just from the safe space into the Grand Canyon and we wouldn't have to see them. They don't go from the safe space to the Grand Canyon. They go to the fucking LA Times and then they start setting editorial directions and now we have to fucking listen to these coddled cunts for the rest of our lives. Waiters and tipping. Well, you know my feeling. My feeling is why does the poor haggard chick who works at the Waffle House walk out of there with $14 in nickels every day, and the hot bitch who's 23, who has no education and no skill set and no training of any kind, go to the fucking Morton Steakhouse, work 3 or 4 tables at the same time, and walk out of there with $300, $400 cash? Her fucking billable hours are more than Mark goddamn Garagos's, and she was put on probation at a fucking junior college. We need a sliding scale, and it's got to slide both directions. If you go into the Waffle House and your shit is under $20, that bitch is getting 35%. And conversely, if I go into the high-end steak joint, order a couple bottles of wine and some surf and turf, that shit's dropping down to 10%. Let's fucking slide the scale. I'm for the bitch who works at the Waffle House, and this would help her quite a bit.
To me, this feels like a blowout because I think that as much as I love the Safe Spaces rant and I love the idea of welcoming the first person who disagrees with you, this could be the new turn left rule. Yeah, this could be let's all get on board with the sliding scale. I think it's a fabulous idea.
It's a new way to look at tipping. I like it. Although, much like Wheeler's beloved Kentucky, I think tipping came in here expecting a first round win and got a tougher matchup than they expected.
But I think because it expected that first round win, it had to go the extra mile, and it did by infusing this idea into society.
Tipping it is.
Okay.
I was gonna say I thought you made some good points, and I'm gonna fucking start tipping more with the cheaper shit. You know.
Case in point.
A pox on anybody who does that move where they go into the Waffle House or the diner or whatever, and they're like, let's see, it's 16.72. What is 15%?
About $3.
Just fucking throw her $10 and get the fuck out of there, would you please? You refilled your coffee 9 times.
I agree.
All right. Sorry.
Finally, closing out the California Conference, LA homelessness versus SoFi Stadium rules.
Well, homelessness. No one can wrap their fucking mind around what is the problem. And then we have to have all the fucking bureaucrats and Newsom and Garcetti. They're going to explain to us, the face of homelessness. If I hear any fucking politician tell me what the face is of anyone, new rule, I can just slap you right in the fucking face. So it's a face off. It's a face for face trade. The second you go, the face of pregnancy, the teen pregnant, the face. You start anything with the face. By the way, I know whatever's coming out of your mouth next is all bullshit. It's going to be a fucking avalanche of bullshit when you go the face of. The face of is mentally impaired people and fucking junkies. That's it. And you can't solve the problem because you won't even address the problem for what the problem is. Of course, you'd have a completely different tact if it was a bunch of mothers of three and they closed the bookbindery down and now she's out on the street. That's a totally different problem than this guy's a fucking homicidal junkie with a fucking machete. And what if lumber yards work this way? I need 10 seconds extension, Brian. What if they said, who's stealing all the lumber? Everyone is stealing all the lumber from our lumber yard. How do we fix it? Well, who's stealing the lumber? Gangbangers are stealing it. Well, you know what? I think beavers are stealing it. So let's focus on building a beaver fence.
SoFi rules.
SoFi rules. When that fucking smug jackass prick got up there and warned us all about the Super Bowl and attending SoFi Stadium, and don't get that popcorn and nurse it for 2 hours. We're on to you. Well, fuck you. We're on to you. You're an overficious douchebag. Every single person who was in that stadium took their fucking mask off. And by the way, whoever the dick is who sets policy for SoFi, every single human being, including the mayor and every big celebrity, just went in there and went, fuck that guy, mask down, and they weren't even fucking eating half the time. Listen, an edict is fine. Wear your seatbelt. Put on a helmet when you ride a motorcycle. But if somebody said, put a fucking feather duster up your ass when you ride a motorcycle, then we'd go, fuck you, douche, because that doesn't make scientific sense. And I'm following the science, and I've looked at the data, and it turns out you're a colossal douchebag. Ooh, I got a sweat going.
Yeah, you need to take a seat.
I learned a lot on that one.
Yeah.
Initially, I thought, Gina, I'm going to mansplain how the tournament works. Usually you get, once every couple of years, you get the team with the losing record that somehow lucked into winning their conference tournament, and they're just happy to be there. That's what I thought we were getting out of SoFi Stadium rules, but they came to play.
Yeah, but how many legs do you think it has to go forward? Do you think SoFi left it all on the field? Do you think he'll be able to come up with something new?
Hey, LA homelessness needs 10 extra seconds. I still think there's more.
Okay, you want to go homeless?
Homeless.
Check your brackets at adamcarolla.com and tune in Monday as we start the bittersweet 16 in March Madness.
They picked a good day to hang out, Wheeler.
Yeah, that was intense, man. I do have an honest question about that. So I watched Super Bowl from home in Tennessee, of course. There was a mask rule?
Oh, very much so.
I tell you right now, I did not see one mask on my television.
No.
I saw a lot of celebrities. I saw Snoop Dogg. I saw Dr. Dre. I saw all the players. I saw the coaches.
J-Lo.
The boxes with celebrities. I didn't know about that. I didn't see. Like I said, it was a learning experience today.
Well, Chris can find that clip of that guy. I'll hit stamps.com just to show Wheeler. Your small business, it's not small to you. You can't afford to miss opportunities to grow. Stamps.com. Skip the post office and the trips to the post office and focus on your small business. Print official postage right from your computer. Spend less time at the post office and more time making your customers happy. Plus, discounts you can't find anywhere else, like up to 40% off USPS rates and 76% off of UPS rates. We use it here. We've always used Stamps.com here. All the merch, books, whatever, T-shirts, everything we send out using Stamps.com. And you can also use it for sending invoices or whatever, your side hustle, job, Etsy shop, whatever. It's the best. Your big warehouse, small business, whatever. Stamps.com going to make your life easier. Right, Dawson?
Sign up with promo code ADAM for special... Stop overpaying for shipping with Stamps.com. Sign up with promo code ADAM for a special offer that includes a 4-week trial, free postage, and a digital scale. No long-term commitments or contracts. Just go to Stamps.com, click the microphone at the top of the page, and enter code ADAM.
All right, it's Russ Simons who's going to give us the speech about not taking the mask off, Wheeler.
The protocols include a mandatory mask requirement in the stadium for everyone 2 years of older, regardless of their vaccination status. Required to wear a face covering in the stadium and the tailgate areas, except while actively eating and drinking. And that doesn't mean buy a bucket of popcorn and eat it for 2 hours. Actively eating and drinking. We are on to you.
They're on to us.
He's on to 73,000 people that are not doing what the fuck he said. And what happened to the name Russ? A dude named Russ, that's a dude you could trust.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Russ was a guy who helped you swap the tranny in the El Camino, you know.
Helped you move.
Russ is the guy.
I'm more interested in the idea of eating popcorn and followed by "we're on to you."
Yeah.
Right.
Man,
How
I'm
dare
eating
you?
popcorn.
Yeah.
Well, according to Russ, we'd have to put a timestamp on your bucket so we know when you purchased it. All right. Gene Simmons is going to join us next. Wheeler Walker, everyone. Sex, Drugs, and Country Music's available April 15th, wherever you listen to music. And
Can I add one thing? Go to cancelwheeler.com. I'm trying to get canceled before the album comes out. You can pre-cancel me at cancelwheeler.com.
Cancelwheeler.com. All right. Great Gene Simmons in studio right after this.
The Adam Carolla Show presents Gene Simmons' birthday cocktail party for August 25th. Let's see who's invited. Legendary conductor and composer Leonard Bernstein. Former governor of Alabama, segregationist George Wallace. Sean Connery joined the party. Tom Skerritt is here. From Judas Priest, Rob Halford. From Asia, Jeff Downs. Elvis Costello. Film director Tim Burton is here. So is Billy Ray Cyrus. From Wilco, Jeff Tweedy. Claudia Schiffer. And the first Tsar of Russia, Ivan the Terrible. Gene Simmons is on the Adam Carolla Show.
Gene is in studio. Kiss End of the Road World Tour coming up. Dates all over the U.S. and
the world.
And the world.
Yeah.
And you can go to kissonline.com to get those tickets. And this will be it. This will be the last time we can see Kiss live.
Uncle Adam, there comes a time. All things must pass. Still have hair on my head, much more on my back. But at some point, you've got to stop. You know, we've all seen bands on stage a little too long.
Well, I think people will be willing to see Kiss as long as Kiss is willing to perform. But I understand it. I mean, you're 72.
72.
You don't look it. I had a weird thought. I forgot you were Hungarian.
I can speak Hungarian.
Oh, you can?
And German and Hebrew and English.
Well, do a little Hungarian for us because it's the wackiest sounding language ever. It's not really, when you hear Spanish and you kind of connect it to Italian or Italian to
Hungarian
Spanish.
has no connection to any Romance languages at all. People think it sounds Finnish, but it's not. In Finnish, if you count 1, 2, 3, 4, yksi, kaksi, kolme, that's 1, 2, 3. In Hungarian, it's et, kettő, három, which sounds nothing like it. So a Hungarian... Anyukám született Magyarországból, azért én tudok beszélni magyarul, de Budapest, van Buda, és azután van Pest. És azért hívják Budapest.
You've brought me back to my childhood.
You speak?
No, my grandfather, Laszlo Gorog, would live in a little house in North Hollywood. His sister, Bougie, would come to visit. And bring her son, Gabi.
That's very Hungarian.
And they would have discussions in Hungarian, and it was sort of, couldn't pick out one word. It wasn't connected to anything. But Bougie baked. She baked a lot. And my grandfather cooked a lot, and he made the goulash and the chicken paprikash and the no kettle and all the stuff. And I'm addicted to it to this day.
It's good food. Poor people food, Irish stews, goulashes. You take a big pot, throw whatever you can in there. If it lived, kill it, stick it in the pot. Mm-hmm. They're the best food as far as I'm concerned. And they're peculiar, the Hungarians. You know, they're remnants of the Mongol invasion. They were the Tatars, the Huns, the Mongols, and the Magyars. And the Magyars, part of the Huns, settled in what the Hungarians call Magyarország, the land of the Magyars. So they look different. Like, I don't look Slavic, but next to us, surrounded, are people who are sort of blonder and so on. But if you want to curse in Hungarian, it's the most peculiar thing. Here, I'm going to give you a sense.
What are you going to say to me?
Osta Christus slova. That means, oh, that must be Christ's horse. But wait, there's more. Osta anyadistenit. That's probably your God.
Wow.
That's it. Osta kutyafajat. That's the pain of the dog.
So here's something I'm curious about, and it all just dawned on me when you sat down. I forgot.
By the way, your cookie's good. Somebody told me I had to eat your cookie when I came in, but I didn't know they meant literally.
Yes, we have Adam Carolla show cookies.
Because, Adam, these are semantics, but I'm not anti-semantic.
I like it. Okay, you just told a joke. Fine.
I know it's not a joke. That was like real English.
But let me say, this is going to dovetail very nicely to my point.
Yeah.
My grandfather, Laszlo,
Lajos.
Yes.
Larry.
Oh, is it Larry? Yeah.
Well, there are different versions.
He would regale us with stories all night. And when I'd sleep, I was very close with him. I would sleep at his house quite often. And he would tell me bedtime stories all the time. But they weren't Hansel and Gretel, and it weren't the three big bad wolves. There were stories he made up. He was a storyteller. He was a writer. He wrote plays and things of that nature.
Really?
Yeah. And he talked but he's like you in that he wasn't a comedian, but he liked clever sayings, and he liked sort of word plays, and he, later in his life, he came up with this whole thing about, basically Mexican food that was, that would be Jewish food or deli food, and he'd say like, enchilada, crepes or something. Kreplach enchilada or whatever. He was always immune. And then somebody told me later on, like after he died, they said, Hungarians are renowned storytellers. They're very verbal people. And I wonder how much of that's in your DNA, because rock and roll guys aren't that funny sometimes, not big storytellers, not big
rock and roll
talkers.
guys are generally losers, hardly qualified to do what we do. If it wasn't for the guitars around our necks, we'd be asking the next person in line, would you like some fries with that? I mean, let's call it for what it is. Between the drugs and the alcohol, all the self-effacing stuff. No, not so much. I have never been high or drunk and never smoked cigarettes, so maybe that's why I can get through a paragraph and a sentence without going, sounding like Beavis and Butthead.
But I do think you're loquacious and you're...
Now, that's a big word like gymnasium. That's big.
And I think your history of Hungarian and Jews, right? Jewish.
Israeli, yeah.
Yeah, Jews, Hungarians, they're all... My grandfather was Jewish. They talk. They like to converse.
Well, it's the pen is mightier than the sword, and Pulitzer was a Hungarian Jew.
Was he?
Yeah, the Pulitzer Prize and all that, yeah.
Did not know that.
So, but the glory days of Hungary and Austria together was the Austro-Hungarian Empire that begat the waltz and the thing. It was a glorious time, and it was very open to people's different religious beliefs. A very good time. Franz Josef was the emperor, and that was around 1870, thereabouts. Would have been nice to be there.
Did you go when you moved to Israel? You were 5 years old or very young?
No, I was born there. I had no say.
You were born there?
No say in the matter.
Oh, really? And I know we talked about, hard scrabble, just very poor ways you tried to make money. Do you think that was sort of early training for your entrepreneurship?
Well, there's no question that some of the pieces of the puzzle of who and what you are and I am and so on is based on what went before. My mother raised me on her own. I'm an only child for my mother. My father shamefully ran out on us when I was about 6 or 7, but that's hardly unique. Shamefully, many families' fathers abscond. So when I grew up in Israel, those first few years, there was nothing. There was no infrastructure, no roads. So you had to figure it out for yourself. And that was great training coming to America. There were no allowances. An allowance for doing what?
Right.
So when I came to America, I saw the land of opportunity. You bet. I'm smarter than these guys. They're going to work for me.
Your dad, he ever try to circle back and get in touch with you?
I have never, once he left us, I never actually spoke to him, although he kept sending letters. I did feel I owed him an ethical return, which is
he was sending letters to Israel?
I was not. He sent me letters in America with my mother.
And he was back in Israel?
Yes, he never left. But I supported him until the day he died. Bought him a place to live, spent money and all that, plus his other children from other marriages.
Really?
Yes.
Why?
It's a fair trade. You give me life. You were there, so I can afford it, and so why not make your life better? It doesn't mean I want to hang out and have a social relationship. I probably had a lot of pent-up, finger pointing and all that. Of course, it was a different time. Right after World War II, it's difficult for anybody to make heads or tails of what life is, what's happiness. Jobs were hard to find. The world was lost. And I wasn't there. I grew up, I had a piece of bread and jam. That's all I cared about.
You started hitting it early and often when you moved to the United States in terms of the band. And the band was formed when you were still pretty young, right?
I was 2.
No, but I saw the whole biography, the Kiss story.
We started in 1973 or so. And decided to put together the band we never saw on stage. And it was a sort of a Rorschach test of what are we going to do to stand out? Mm-hmm. Wear more makeup, higher heels, more. More is a better, louder. I'll never forget the first ad for Black Sabbath. It was in Rolling Stone. And they were all Led Zeppelin was a limp blimp, of course, from Rolling Stone, the geniuses.
Right.
And I'll never forget this ad. It said...
That's where they got their name, right?
No, Black Sabbath, louder than Led Zeppelin. I thought that's the coolest thing I ever heard. Doesn't mean it's better. It's just louder, more. And so that was the idea, not that Black Sabbath was the reference point, but the idea of Kiss was to do more on stage and don't worry about the rules. So we continue to be, very strange forms of life. I walk around with dragon boots. I burp while I'm doing Adam Carolla interviews. I spit fire. It's about
spit
40
blood
when it's that time of the month, Adam. And there's no reference point to that. What are your influences? I don't know. It was just sort of when kids play in a mud pile and they start making this stuff up. And maybe that's the most honest thing about at least what I do, which is I didn't have reference point. Let's see, who's my favorite blood spitter? That's my thing. No. So who's my fire spitter? Nope, not in bands. And it had to do with a lot of what I was lacking, which was I'd go to see the Love and Spoonful, one of my favorite bands, Sly and the Family Stone, all that stuff when I was growing up, and loved the music. But you could have closed your eyes. Come on. Mm-hmm. There was nothing going on stage until a band like The Who, and you'd have to wait until the end when Pete would start breaking the guitars and all that. And so why not put together a band with people who believed in the same idea that as soon as they introduce the band, chaos, all hell breaks loose. Sure enough, you wanted the best, and we have to be jackasses or delusional. Listen to the words. You wanted the best, you got the best, the hottest band in the world, mofo or bitch, Kiss. And that was the gauntlet. You toss it down, and even before the first chord hits it, fire pods and flash pods and fireballs. Now everybody does it. You watch American Idol and stuff, fireballs. Where'd they get that? Air Supply?
I'm all out of love. What am I without you?
I distinctly heard the word Jew.
Without Jew.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Jews, Israel. It's. I don't want to go too political here.
You can.
But
You can.
I have an experience with Jews, which is I'm not a Jew, and my grandfather.
But you worship one.
Yes. Thank you. Gene Simmons, everybody.
Yeah. Very good.
I grew up, so I went to North Hollywood High, and North Hollywood High had a bunch of Gentiles like me, and there were fuck-ups from the valleys.
By the way, people think Gentiles is a bad word. It is not.
No.
It simply says you're not Jewish.
Not Jewish, and their parents were all divorced, and everyone smoked and drank, and everything was a fucking shit show, and everyone lived in a bad apartment. And then I had all my Jewish friends from up in the Hebrew Heights up there in Studio City.
Hebrew Heights.
That's what the hills of Studio City were called.
Because they came from Hebron. That's why it's called Hebrew. But back to you, Adam.
Their parents were married. The kids were taken care of. They got good grades. And when we graduated high school, we all went to a construction site, and they went to Stanford and Berkeley. And I also saw the way my grandfather conducted himself. He wasn't my biological grandfather, but he cooked, he took care of everyone, he was loving, and everyone else was just a all-for-them shit show. And I started to appreciate Jews, It was started to get built into me. And then I see Israel, and I'm like, I don't need to know all the nuts and bolts. I feel like they're the sane people in the region, and they need to be supported. And then I hear so many people taking a stand against, divesting and all that kind of bullshit. And I'm like, first off, compared to who in that region, and why is Israel need to be divested from?
Compared to the rest of the world, Israel has more patents, inventions and so on than any country on the face of the planet other than America and maybe one more. Cell phone, the technology was invented in Haifa, Motorola Haifa. Star Wars technology, that's all Israel. It is a very small country. There are more people. First of all, Jews are very bizarre. There are more men, women, and children living in Guadalajara, which is a city in Mexico, than there are Jews on the entire planet. There's about 18 million in Guadalajara. There are 14.5 million Jews on the entire planet. And yet, do you have a lawyer?
Yes.
What's his name?
Mark Garagos.
Garagos. Well, he's not, but...
He's not a Jew? Okay.
I know of him.
Mel Schmeckelstein.
Of course. An accountant. Well, if you had an accountant or lawyer or thing.
Garagos could be Jewish.
No, I think Greek Orthodox.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Well, he's more a neighbor than an attorney, but
not common, but generally, on the other hand, name a Jewish basketball player. Not so much, but they own the teams.
Yeah, so when you hear about the squad and many of these members of Congress and senators and stuff sort of going after Israel all the time.
That's okay.
I think, but I go, what's motivating
But it's
it?
nothing new. It's historical, and part of it, there's this Jewish cabal, this thing about the Illuminati and the Jews control it. I think it's suspicious to people when they see so many, well, for instance, at the Nobel Peace Prize. For one thing, Pulitzer was a Hungarian Jew, so that's suspicious. Wait a minute, he won the Nobel, but he's Jewish. Yeah, so the Nobel Peace Prizes are per capita dominated by Jews in economics and all this kind of stuff. So it is suspicious when you go to the law schools that they're churning it out. And part and parcel of that is culture. It's what your culture dictates. And the rest is just goddamn hard work.
Yes.
Nobody is born a lawyer or a doctor or any of that stuff. You got to put in 12 years. That's after you graduate high school to get that. So when I see somebody with an MD or a lawyer degree and stuff, tip your hat. Here's a person who works harder than you do. No, that's not the way it goes. They go, that guy, he's a Jewish lawyer. Thank you. Yeah, you're right. He worked 12 years for it. By the way, you know how we know Jesus was Jewish? Well, a factoid. He lived with his mother until he was 33 years old. He actually thought his mother was a virgin. That's something. His mother thought he was God. That's another thing. And then he goes into his father's business. That's a Jew.
See, what I was telling you about the Hungarians and their ability to tell stories and jokes. I think that
and you know why all the
chicks.
You know why all the chicks love Jesus? Well, he's hung like this. So.
Gene told me.
He's laughing.
Gene told me a joke off the air.
Yul Gibbons is laughing. Come on.
That he might repeat. God, it's a deep dive. Yul Gibbons. Yul Gibbons is a guy for the Grape Nuts commercial.
That's right.
Many parts of the pine cone are edible.
That's right.
I was like, shut up, douche. My mom's listening. She's fucking feeding us pine cones.
Well, he was an environmentalist before people knew what that was.
Yeah, and there's a lot of shots of him foraging through the forest looking for shit to eat.
Because that's what you want to do, is to be out there where there are bears. No, I don't want to.
It was an interesting conceit, which is this guy's foraging, but we have a Gelson's up the street.
Right.
Why are we listening to him?
I hate nature. I don't like not being able to control rain. It's like it's like turn off the nozzle. I don't want it to be wet. I like showers. It's too cold. Nature doesn't care.
You don't do a lot of camping?
Jews camping. It sounds wrong.
That's true. That's
it just doesn't sound. Skiing Jews. It just sounds wrong.
Yeah, it is weird.
Yeah.
But
it's uncomfortable. So doing things that are uncomfortable is not very Jewish.
Well, you know what I said? I haven't said it in a while, but
I'm good looking.
Yeah, well, that goes without saying. What I'm saying is Jews are funny. They're sort of conservative in that they're not thrill seekers. It's not like Jew Evel Knievel.
No.
But they eat like Evel Knievel. They eat tongues and
there's Chinese food. Mm-hmm. Chinese food is the most popular Jewish food.
Right, but when my grandfather would eat tongue a lot.
Don't do that,
And had a real his greatest lament is that he couldn't get a goose liver in North Hollywood.
That's true, but it's poor people food. When you're coming from countries that basically tried to wipe out the people, the entire population, having meat was a premium.
Did your mom cook Hungarian like back in the early days?
I loved my mom till the very end. She lived to be 94. She was in the concentration camps of Nazi Germany at age 14.
In Germany?
Yeah, right outside.
Mm-hmm.
They had camps in Poland.
Yeah, Poland.
And so
yeah, I didn't even. Did they have them in Germany?
Very few. There were two. Mauthausen, I think.
Yeah, so Bougie, older sister, had the same thing. My grandfather got the fuck out of Hungary in like 39 or something.
And little known fact is the Hungarians had the black shirts, the fascists, who lined up Jews by the Danube, the Duna as they call, and they killed him, tossed him in the,
So your mom was in a concentration camp?
When she was 14. But in terms of house stuff, she was working all her life. Once my father left, she was mom and dad and cook, bottle washer, all of it.
How do you think you would have turned out? What would have been different if your dad was there and loving and sort of taking care of business? What do you think?
I don't think as well, because I firmly believe and call it delusional that to have a matriarchal figure is beneficial. I know you've got to have a male presence and all that, but through my mother's eyes, I understood, and her words are true, every day above ground is a good day. What you and I complain about, the traffic jam, and the first thing I said to you when I walked in is, where are we? We're on the border, and all that nonsense. It means nothing. From my mother's perspective, there's nothing to complain about. I'll give you a quick, when we first came to America, I couldn't speak a word of English, and in those early days in the late 50s, 1850s, see what I did there? Mm-hmm. Television would go off the air by about 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock midnight. Mm-hmm. We had 3 or 4 channels. That's it. And then you'd see and you'd hear the black and white kind of thing, and it goes off the air.
It's at the beginning of a Billy Joel song.
Yes, I know. That's right. That's right.
You got to figure out which one, Chris. It's early Billy Joel. You guys can figure it out, but it's the sign-off.
Right after he broke up the Hassles. So, and then right before that happened, television stations would play, and you'd see the billowing flag back and forth. And my mother would let me stay up because next day I'd have to get up early and all that. 6 days a week, yeshiva. Went to regular English stuff and then Bible stuff. And I'd want to talk to my mother, and she would say, shh, 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 shh. While that song was playing and the flag was billowing, my mother would watch television and she would tear up. And I didn't understand why my mother was crying. And I still get choked up. It wasn't until years later that I understood, yeah, she finally was in a country where people weren't trying to kill her and her family. And even though we were living in like a ghetto, $37 a month rent, she was making maybe $100 a week. You barely survive, but nobody's trying to kill you. It's, I've heard televangelists and other people, but they're right. It's a blessed country. They're right. God bless America. You bet your ass.
Well, also, what you have is perspective, because you've seen what it's like to live a certain way. And I tell people all the time, and they go, "What are you working so much for? You're doing this, you're doing that." I do. I used to work. I used to be on a roof. I used to scrape asphalt shingles and crawl underneath crawl spaces and dig footings with a sawed-off shovel. That's work.
What do they want you to do?
Well, that's, take it easy, relax. Why are you always going somewhere?
And do what? Wait to die? Any doctor will tell you that as long as you're sitting still, you're contributing slowly to a slow death. Your heart, the valves don't work as well, your heart slows down, and then eventually you die. You gotta keep moving. Your brain's gotta work. Chase the girls, get good food, run out there and do stuff. Work is good.
I completely agree. But your mom had perspective. You got perspective. I feel like so many people in this country don't get that perspective. They're just like, we're built on slavery, and the founding fathers were all horrible, and they have no perspective. They don't know what it's like in the rest of the world.
History may be true, and that's right. The white European people were really bad people. Some of the Arabs also enslaved people and did that. We tried almost completely got rid of the American Indian population. Just really horrible stuff. But you want perspective right here and now? Ukraine. Here are a people who did nothing to anybody, and all of a sudden the big bad bear crosses and starts killing people. By the way, it's at a standstill. They've been shamed, and the Russians were just chased out of outside of Kyiv. It's at a standstill. You want perspective? There are people who are living and dying in Ukraine right now, and we're just complaining about the traffic jam here.
I saw you on TMZ a week or so ago talking about Kanye West. They kind of made a deal out of it, but they didn't really throw you under the bus. They said, caught you outside of a Starbucks and wanted to know what was up with Kanye. And you said basically someone needed to slap him. Slap some sense into him. And they were kind of like, is that racist or what?
Why? Everybody should. Just as a breath of fresh air, I've been an asshole, and every once in a while you want somebody to just come over and a bitch slap. Yeah, it's like snap out of it. It's that scene with Cher and Nick Cage. Right. I know Cher.
You do?
Yeah, we used to live.
Oh, that's right. You guys used to live. I mean, you were a serious item, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, who had bigger hair back then?
Cher.
Cher?
Longer.
But it was close, right?
No, her hair was Armenian, really thick. Mine's kind of Jufro. But anyway, the point in Moonstruck, there's a scene where Nick Cage is complaining about this. She hauls off and bitch slaps him and says, snap out of it. We all need that. Kanye, I don't talk about this kind of stuff. Everybody, look, you're talking about the problems of billionaires, Kanye and the Kardashians. God bless them. Self-made, you got to tip your hat. They didn't ask anybody for a dime, and they created this wealth. Fantastic. And now somebody asked me, what's your opinion? Okay, you're asking me, so I'll tell you.
Right.
Leave her alone. She's a grown-ass woman, and she doesn't need your permission
Kim Kardashian.
to do anything.
Yes.
And by the way, when Kanye, who I think is very talented and good-looking, and all that stuff, jumped up on stage when Taylor Swift won an award, she should have pushed his sorry ass off the stage. Your name is not Taylor Swift. It's my turn. They'll call your name, and I won't jump up.
Speaking of that, by the way, Kim Kardashian, I mean, this is probably something that's going to hit home with you. She got a bunch of shit a couple of weeks ago for basically saying, hey, ladies, you got to work real hard. Get up, get out, and go to work. Or anyone who's running a business.
I think the internet social media is just full of crap. Everybody's waiting for somebody to say something, especially rich, famous, beautiful people, even if they're self-made. But if somebody else, if your female teacher would have said this to the female population, get out there, work harder, you feel it inspirational, don't you?
Yes.
But it's just because you're jealous that she's beautiful and she's got a lot of money and all that. Call it for what it is. So the people that, they need a little bit slap here and there too. We all do.
We got the Billy Joel song is called Sleeping with the Television On.
Yeah, I know this.
Yeah. It's a good song. I'll play the first 20 seconds of it. It's the sign-off. Your mom would be crying right now. It's a deep cut Billy Joel song, but it's good. Who do you like besides Love and Spoonful?
That's an E minor that goes to
go ahead.
A to D major. Who do I like? I like all kinds of stuff. When I first came to America with my mother, I couldn't speak a word of English, and listened to the radio the whole time, and television. They were both on at the same time. I had never seen television. And there was a guy flying.
What year? I'm sorry.
1804.
1804.
It was very early. I'm very old, Adam. 1958.
Mm-hmm.
And Superman was on. I never heard of Superman. Here's this guy flying through the air with a cape. I never imagined anything like that. And putting on the radio, I never heard of the Beatles until much later. The first music I heard was Chuck Berry, Little Richard, and all that. And all I remember is not understanding the words and starting to, it just made your body move.
Mm-hmm.
And fast forward many years later, I was proudly asked by the Berry family to do the eulogy at Chuck Berry's funeral.
Really?
Yeah, I couldn't keep it together. It was just heartbreaking. He was there in an open casket, and we had, as it happened, played at that place the day before, and they asked me to speak. I mean, what can you say? If it wasn't for Chuck, there'd be no Keith Richards or Lennon. And, the guitar, the backbone of rock and roll. That's all Chuck. So, what can I say? The first music I heard was black music. But because I heard that first and sort of Fats Domino, and I started to understand 1-4-5 chords were the basis of blues. Hundreds of thousands of songs have been written about that. So when I first heard the Beatles, I understood. Oh, a little Everly Brothers, a little Chuck Berry, some Motown, a little this, little that, and you get the gestalt, that combination of stuff.
Do you remember, it just popped in my head, but you like black music and you got a good sense of humor. Remember Gene McDaniels?
Sure. He took 100 pounds of clay. You thought you'd...
Then he said...
Come on.
Hey, listen. Yeah. That's a really good one. Oh, it's kind of funny.
But he had the Jackie Wilson kind of voice. He took 100 pounds of clay. Can you play some Gene McDaniels?
Well, you got to play...
He also had...
wait a minute. Now, we need the lyrics up there.
He did it all with
lots of loving.
pounds of clay.
Yes, he did. Oh, yes, he did. Just putting the words up
Now
there.
can't you just see him walking around and round,
Listen to that rhythm.
picking the clay up off the ground,
Elvis tried to do that. Not close.
doing just what he should do
Where's
to
it?
make a living dream like you.
Hero!
His big sleeves up and a brand new world began. He created
You're pushing so many buttons. I want to kill myself. Look at that. Lots of loving for romance. Yes, he did.
Yes,
he did. With just 100 pounds of clay.
Kiss should cover that shit.
Of course. By the way, thanks for giving me the clap, guys.
You should do It's
Oh, I
rolling
love it.
two
Jackie Wilson.
two Gene McDaniel
Oh,
songs.
I covered Jackie Wilson's Baby Workout in my Las Vegas big band.
Oh,
I did
really?
A thing. Oh, yeah. You ever hear Baby Workout?
Baby Workout.
Oh, my
up there.
God.
Yeah, work it.
4-octave range. This guy.
Really, Jackie? Yeah, Jackie was. There's another Gene. You got to find the other Gene McDaniel
Tower
song.
Strength?
Tower Strength.
Tower
Favorite.
Strength. Fantastic. With the big trombones.
Because it's funny. He's got a sense. It's self-deprecating.
Well, all these guys came from church, so they could sing. Listen to that.
If I were
A tower of strength, I'd walk away. I'd look in your eyes, and here's what I say. I don't want you. I don't need you. I don't love you anymore.
and I'd
Walk out the door. You'd be down on your knees. You'd be calling to me.
But a tower of strength is a something
Listen,
I'll never
that's
be.
just fucking, that rocks.
I love this song. All right, we got. I don't know. I'm not sure what happened. Gene's probably been gone for a little while, but
Yeah. But there
But
were,
he was kind of Jackie Wilson-esque.
very much, because when you get that Kermit sound, you know, which reminds me, what's green and smells like Miss Piggy?
I don't know what.
Kermit's finger. It's a very important. Thank you for that, Yule.
Gene McDaniels was around until 2011. I didn't know that.
But great. These were great artists. Gene McDaniels also sang, was it with the Drifters before Benny King?
Oh, really?
Is that right?
We'll do a deep dive on Gene, but yeah, interesting that was all the music that you were
gotta
influenced
have roots. I like the sound of a lot of new music coming up, and I don't want to sound fuddy-duddy. And I love Tame Impala and a lot of good stuff out there. No roots. You can't find a stick of like what it was. Like if it's a week old, no idea. In fact, I'll tell you my son Nick's story. He's trying to come on to a girl. She's attractive. She's got a Rolling Stones T-shirt, the one with the tongue. And he walks up and he's trying to figure out what the opening line is. So he figures, oh, you like the Stones, huh? And she goes, yeah. I'm just repeating the story. No,
She's wearing
no
the
ad-libs.
shirt, right?
And she goes, what's that? A band? He goes, the Rolling Stones. It says the Rolling Stones on her T-shirt. No, you've never heard of the Rolling Stones? No. He goes, I can't get no satisfaction. Nope, never heard of it. You never heard of Mick Jagger? She goes, oh, no, wait a minute. Mick Jagger. Yeah, the serial killer. My hand to God, I'm not making that up. They never heard of it.
The Drifters, by the way, is Clyde
McPhatter, who, by the way, also has that Jackie Wilson voice. He kind of sings like this.
So your band, I was watching the doc, and was you and Paul, right? Were basically in the doc. And
Well, we asked Ace and Peter, who we continue to love and be, have kind things to say, but they refused. It's been a lifetime for both guys of just bad decisions. If you mix in alcohol and booze, they're really bad decisions. But I called them both. I said, do you want to be in the documentary? You say whatever you want. We're assholes, or it was a pleasure and all that. They refused.
Well, I guess it's Peter that seems, I don't know, well, I don't want to say worse, but who is less appreciative of the opportunity known as Kiss?
It's not fair to point a finger because everybody's got their own dynamics with life and living experiences. But anybody who is lucky enough on the face of the planet of 7.5 billion people to have more money than you could ever spend in your life, have more chicks run after you that you don't deserve because you're not that good looking. I'm talking about myself. Glory, fame, all that stuff. I don't have to do a goddamn thing, and people will give me free stuff. Where were they when I couldn't afford to get on a bus? That you wouldn't see the how blessed you are is delusional. It's criminal. And because there are so many millions of people who would kiss the ground you walk on just to be given the chance. So, for instance, we have Tommy Thayer and Eric Singer, who've been with us 20 years. We've been around almost half a century. And we are quitting very soon, but Tommy and Eric show up on time. They're appreciative, professional, no drugs, no booze, nothing. And I can't say the same thing about, I always want to shut my mouth, Ace, and who I love to this day, and Peter. They were every bit as important as Paul and I in forming the band, but not everybody has the DNA to run a marathon. Some people are shooting stars. They look great for a short time, and then bye-bye.
Quick break to tell you about Geico. Well, would you love to save some money on your insurance? Of course you would. Who doesn't love a deal when it comes to great rates on insurance for everything? Geico can help. Insurance for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, RV, even homeowners, condos, and renters coverage. Save even more with a special discount when you bundle your coverages. Plus, add the easy-to-use Geico mobile app for 24-hour roadside assistance and switch to Geico because it becomes so much easier. Everything's a no-brainer when you switch to Geico. Switch today. See just how much you could save. Just go to geico.com and get a quote from your local, or you can check out your local agent. Geico.com. Yeah, what do you make of that? As I do spend a considerable amount of time thinking about people in this sort of, I guess you could call it self-destructive behavior. Now, I'm not talking about drug addicts. I'm saying sort of professionally. You know, I could remember early on with, I'll use Jimmy as an example, Jimmy Kimmel. People would come in and like, they'd come into his office and they're like, I'll tell that guy to fuck off. And I'd go like, don't do it. Why are you going to do that? You know, I'll settle his hash. It's like, no, he's good. He's going to be good for you. You know, I was like, fuck that guy. You know, it's like, I've had it done to me a lot. You've had it done to you. It's like, what is that thing where do they think that they're playing a bigger role in this than they actually are? Or what is it? Because a lot of people are that way.
I believe a lot of it has to do with insecurities, self-esteem issues, and a survival method, which is just, you know, it's like mom likes you best. Why do one of the kids just like, who cares? So mom likes that one better. You'll still get fed just as much food, and you'll go to the same college and all that stuff. No, my mom likes you best. So you're always in competition. I see we have 4 dogs, Shannon and I, and you put some food down, they'll kill each other to get at the food. And yet when the other dogs aren't around, I'm not hungry right now. It's just because there are other ones. And at the end of the day, we're still animals. We have not evolved. When you really think about it, what are we complaining about? You're never always going to be the center of attention. Not everybody likes Jesus either. You know, it's just like, get up. You need Cher to bitch slap you and say, get over it. But why do people do that? Even without drugs and alcohol, I see bad decisions all the time. I've made a few, so have you, and so does everybody. But when you continue to make lots of bad decisions, you will hell to pay. And that's not a hairpiece that the devil wears. Hell to pay. See what I said?
That's good.
That's what I'm talking about.
What is Cher like? I've never met Cher.
Just
I've never
a wonderful
talked to her.
Diana and Cher, most wonderful women you'd ever be.
Diana Ross?
Yes.
Oh, you dated her too?
We lived together, yeah. But
they both, I've heard, were handfuls.
No.
No. Not at all.
People aren't used to strong women.
Well, I feel you, but I've still heard there were handfuls.
I've heard I'm an asshole or you're an asshole or so. He is an asshole too.
I've definitely heard you're an asshole.
Of course.
But not myself, obviously.
Yeah.
But so they were great to live with.
Fantastic. The ladies with capital L.
Diana Ross probably doesn't get her due for being one of the most beautiful women ever.
Well, that's how we talk about females, is first visual, not the accomplishment.
Well,
so when we talk about...
Yes, but I think people know her Supremes and all that she's done.
Well, even as a solo artist, she had more hits than almost anybody that's on the charts as a solo.
Mm-hmm.
And that includes Cher, with Sonny and Cher, lots of hits. On her own, more hits, TV shows, all that stuff. Nobody handed these women the stuff. They had to fight for it in a man's world. The producers and the directors and the TV shows and the execs were all guys. Much harder to be a woman. I don't think I'm telling you anything you don't know, but we don't think about it because, we're guys.
Yeah. And also, like I said, we also think when you're beautiful, you don't have to work that hard. Somehow things will come to you.
Or you're beautiful and then you get dismissed. That's all you are.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why, you quit modeling to do this, right?
Yeah, I slid behind the microphone, but I gave a pretty lucrative modeling career,
Of course.
mostly European stuff. But
A hand model.
Let's
a
keep
hand
the
model,
focus
but
on
that's
you.
not.
Yeah, she sung the theme to Mahogany. It was a big,
She
big
won
hit.
the she won the Academy Award
for that.
And how Lady Sings the Blues.
Yeah. Was it intentional that you wanted to be with a woman that had
No.
a stature?
No, I didn't want any girlfriends. I was an asshole. I didn't want to be asked, where are you going? Where am I going? Who wants to know? I completely self-centered. It wasn't until I met Shannon, and we've been together 38 years.
Wow.
I've been around a long time. I'm an old guy. But it wasn't until I met Shannon that I started to think about, it's time to grow up. When you think about it from a guy's point of view, and maybe women sort of say, oh. So guys grow up in a household, if they're lucky, and there's a mom, if you're lucky, and you can't wait to get out from under the skirt where nobody's telling you what to do, eat your vegetables, don't do all that stuff. Soon as you grow up to a certain point, you go out on your own. What happens? You meet a girlfriend or you get married, and then
back
again to where you're going, be home by 10 o'clock and all that. And a lot of guys, especially with testosterone running through their veins, I would say the vast majority rebel against that. They're not mature enough to handle, okay, this makes sense, this is right, I'm not going to drink, it doesn't make sense. By the way, to all of you who like to get high and drink and do all this, and even smoke cigarettes, I would understand that if that stuff made my schmeckle much bigger, I would understand that. I'd do that. For those of you who are not of the chosen persuasion, schmeckle is what's between your legs, the male of the species. If it made you smarter or richer and stuff, I would understand that. Oh, okay, if you do that stuff, you get that. Nothing happens. In fact, it costs money. If you drink too much, your schmeckle won't work. You'll probably throw up on the shoes.
They call it whiskey schmeckle.
They call a whiskey schmeckle?
They call it whiskey schmeckle.
Whiskey schmeckle.
That means it won't
in
work.
In LA, not in Nebraska, my friend.
Well, I drink to forget about my small schmeckles.
I've never been drunk in my life.
Yeah, we hang out.
Why?
After the
Why?
Well, would you want to go to the grave? And if you do, you can give yourself a discount on a kiss casket. But
we do sell them.
Never knowing what it feels like.
Which genius came up with the ideas? How do you know if you don't experience it? What, I have to get shot by a gun to know what it's going to feel like? No, you know it's not good for you.
Yeah, I agree.
I like, even if you didn't, it just is my truth. My life is too not only precious, but I like being sane and being in control. The idea of numbing myself and not knowing where I was and waking up with a headache and throwing up on my new shirt, what about that is appealing?
Well, with Ace and Peter in the band, that had to be insane. Some bands, everyone parties. Some bands, everyone parties and then everyone gets sober.
In my patois, parties means chasing skirt. The other stuff is just numbing.
Were you able to lay off the skirt chasing with the living with Cher and living with Diana Ross?
No, I was a bad boy in those days.
You were.
You and I went through this thing with Gene Simmons' Family Jewels, with the truth thing and all that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
I'm done. As a matter of fact, I took my schmeckle and put it into a formaldehyde jar, and it's hanging over the fireplace.
Well, we can break it in case of emergency.
You can break it in case of emergency. But
Listen,
I would wear it on your head like a unicorn.
What that thing would fetch on eBay, I could make some serious money with Gene Simmons schmeckle on eBay. But
how are you making money off of my schmeckle?
I would. All right. So
I didn't start it.
You
right?
couldn't keep your schmeckle in your pants, even though you had these relationships with these very substantial women.
Because see, being in a band where there's a lot of money and lots of chicks is like being in a cult.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what's going on. You don't know yourself until you come out of it. And then your perspective is, it's like Jekyll and Hyde. Oh, I was a different person, and I did those things fully believing. If you listen to Leah Remini, I hope I'm pronouncing her name right.
Leah Remini,
and she
Scientology.
L. Ron Hubbard, 1948, the Algonquin Hotel, the Mystery Writers of America. They had a bet with Damon Knight, a science fiction writer, who could write a book that was more utopian and all that. And Damon Knight went off and wrote one, and Dianetics was L. Ron Hubbard. And he won the prize and created a big business. And there were other things about boys, and that's another story.
Oh.
No.
So, all right. So, like, how old were you when Kiss really
56
blew up? I mean, Kiss was a huge part of my childhood. When it really hit its hardest, you were still mid-20s, late 20s.
But we started 73, 74 New Year's Eve at the Academy of Music, fourth on the bill.
And you were how old at this point?
56. No, I was 23. Paul was much younger. Paul was 19.
Wow.
Yeah. And and Pete was older. Pete was older by 3 years, I think. But within a year and a half of forming the band, we're headlining Anaheim Stadium. This is before cell phones. This is before voicemail or any of that stuff. It just, before MTV, it just spread. We had no hit records. We didn't have any hit singles. Just what the Germans called Zeitgeist. It just became the water cooler conversation. You ever see those guys? Nobody knows what they look like. Are they from another planet? Ad infinitum, ad nauseum. And we'd sell out stadiums, bang. In 1977, 78, and 1979, we were the number one Gallopole group on the planet, ahead of a group called the Beatles, Led Zeppelin, and the Bee Gees.
Do you feel like your music, you personally, just sort of your acumen for music is underrepresented by people? Like they think of you as an act, they think of you as a personality, they don't know you can sing Gene McDaniel songs.
I don't care.
You don't care?
No. Once you don't have to flip burgers or dig ditches for a living, what are you going to complain about? I wish they only knew that So I've been lucky enough to have, I didn't know I could paint and everything, so during the pandemic, I took up painting, and I had a big art show at the largest art gallery in Las Vegas. It was big stuff, a lot of money. Gene, you always talk about money. Well, yeah. And TV shows, we had our reality show that lasted 167 episodes and 8 seasons, and a partridge and a pear tree. Just on and on. I have a restaurant chain, partnered in 2 at LAX and all across America. And now we're opening 3 Rock and Brews casinos.
Right.
Now we're going into casinos. I mean, everywhere I turn into artificial intelligence company called Noble, Alaska Cold Storage, a lot of stuff that I don't pretend to understand fully. And I'm going to complain about what?
Yeah, it's a good mindset. No.
And then you die. So sit back, enjoy the ride, because you're not in control, buddy.
Yeah.
You're on a roller coaster ride, and somebody else is pressing the buttons.
Gearing up for the tour, is it a lot of rehearsal?
Yeah.
And I'm guessing you're kind of are you a perfectionist?
No, there's no such thing. No, I am not. Because there have been times, and I've spoken to other guys and other bands and everything, there are times you walk off the stage and kind of go, boy, we weren't so good. And then the fans write, that's the best you've ever been. Why don't you play like that all the time? And then sometimes you think, boy, were we good tonight? And, it comes out, I don't know, that you could be a little better. So you just work here. your bosses, if you're lucky, are standing on their seats and going nuts at the concerts while you blow everything up. You don't know. And the best thing you can do is to psych yourself up and go in there and just give it all, which is why I need to be off that stage before I turn 75. I'm not B.B. King. I got to walk around with 40 pounds of armor, studs, and all that, dragon boots that weigh as much as a bowling ball on each leg. You can't do that when you're 75. I mean, I don't want to say I wish I was Keith Richards, but conceptually, yes. You wear sneakers and a T-shirt, and I worship the guy. Nice, comfortable pair of jeans, and every once in a while strum the guitar. You don't have to do it all the time. Ron Wood's right there. Just strum, enjoy the ride, play stadiums.
Right.
Good way to make a living. But you're not going to have heart palpitations. I do.
Yeah.
So if you take Mick or Bono or anybody and stick them into my outfit, they'd pass out in a half hour. Not because they're not great and iconic, but because the physical wear and tear, you can't do it. And we can't do it forever. And because of that, get off the stage. I mean, if I was a surfboard guy and the tsunami's coming, that's the one I want to ride. And then thank you very much.
Well, it's the last one. Kiss End of the Road World Tour. Dates coming up in the U.S. and the world. And tickets at kissonline.com. Gene Simmons, the website, genesimmons.com. Gene, I always love talking to you because I just find it, just the fact that you know Gene McDaniels and know the words to those songs, just it makes me laugh.
Why wouldn't that would be a good piece of advice for a lot of people entering music. Just because you sing in the shower doesn't mean you should be on American Idol. Wait. No, actually, that's why a lot of people go on American Idol. Right. And the voice and everything. I can sing. Cool. But if Hendrix went on, oh, shucks, he wouldn't make it. You think Bob, once upon a time, and Bob and I have written some songs together, I'm proud to say. You think Bob would make it on The Voice?
No.
No. Madonna? Not a chance.
No. They were all unconventional talents.
But stars.
But stars.
And that goes back to Maurice Chevalier. Gigi, they could barely sing. But you can teach people, here's how to sing, here's how to warm up. You can do that. You cannot teach charisma and stagecraft. You just sort of have it or you don't. And it probably helps to have a loose screw. Something, because predominantly people don't want to be judged. Now imagine that one person in the crowd who wants to go up on stage and be seen head to toe, when they're 12 and just belt it out. How I love it. Right there and some people are going to say you stink and all that, but they just brave all that because they got to do it.
Yeah, and you got to do it.
They just get over it because it's some hunger that they didn't know they had. And the ones that do it when they were kids, they'd never give up. When I was probably 5, in Israel, we didn't have a lot of stuff there. It was just my mom and I. And I remember some aunt came over who I never saw after that. I remember she looked like a clown because the makeup, her lipstick was painted way over her lips, if you can imagine that. And I was wearing oversized underwear or pajama, where the slit was wide open. And if I bend over a little bit, you can see right through and see the little birdie. And I don't know what possessed me, but I jumped on the coffee table and started, acting foolish and dancing. And my aunt was laughing her head off, and my mother quickly took me off the coffee table because apparently as I was tap dancing or jumping up and down, my birdie kept coming in and out of the
cage.
Out of that little thing. Yeah, and that was hilarious. And she came over to me, and it was a horrific sight seeing these big red lips coming on my face. And then afterwards, I thought I was bleeding. I looked in the mirror, and my face was covered with this red thing. Was
she kissing you?
Good Lord, I hope she wasn't trying to eat me. That came later in life, Adam.
But, so you just had that performance. You had that in you, always.
I believe it had to do with being an only child. I believe it had to do with, I don't want to say being abandoned, because I wouldn't. I had my mother.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a need to be loved or admired. Yes, that is a great impetus, a motivation.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, look, here you are, you're talking every day, and somebody's going to have something to say about it. But if you love this so much, it doesn't matter. You got to do it.
No, I agree. I think perspective, come from somewhere, understand what real people do in the real world.
And be comfortable in your own skin.
And either be comfortable in your own skin or grow to be comfortable in your own skin.
Or fake it till you make it. Yeah. And by the way, be delusional. I remember when I first heard Muhammad Ali, who was then Cassius Clay, I'll never forget it. I am the greatest. And I thought, who the fuck does this guy think he is? Well, that's precisely the point. Who do you think you are? He decided for himself that he was the greatest.
I must be the greatest.
He's not waiting for somebody else to give him kudos.
No, he was screaming, I am the greatest, I must be the greatest, and I'm so good looking. And
tell yourself.
The announcer was yelling at him, you're not that good looking.
He goes, no. Yeah, you got to do that because, by the way, somebody else pointed out, a motivational speaker, that as you're speaking, your ears can hear that. So in the same way that a guy who's about to walk the tightrope, or a gal's about to walk the tightrope, psych yourself up. Tell yourself, I'm not going to fall. I can do this and all that. And the champions do that, whether you're playing tennis or a boxer or in the military. Before you go in there, psych yourself up. Don't say bad stuff. Your ears are hearing what you're saying.
Yeah, and certainly your brain is forming what you're saying. Gene, always a pleasure. Come back anytime you like.
How about tomorrow?
Or sleep over.
Okay.
All right. We'll do a couple of shots after the show. Gene Simmons, you know the tour. You got it all. And kissonline.com. And are you guys playing in L.A. somewhere? Or
Eventually. It's not the most important city.
I know. But when you do, I'd love to
Do you know how to say Serbus?
Serbus.
Holy shit. That's horrible.
I'm sorry.
Serbus. That's Hungarian. Serbus.
I know a neophyte pupnuk, a puppy on neophyte puppy people, puppy pup. It's a limerick my grandfather taught me.
Neophyte puppy fuck?
The fucking priest has a wooden pipe.
Holy crap.
All right.
I'm not going to touch that with yours.
And Wheeler Walker and Gina Grad and Bald Bryan. Go to mcroll.com for all the live shows. Oh, and Dawson. That's right. Saturday, 7:30. Going to be over at Flappers in Burbank, the Yoo-Hoo Room. And go out and support our good friend Dawson. FlappersComedy.com. Until next time. Adam for Gene, not Gene McDaniels, saying mahalo. You know who else really loved their dog and listened very intently to their dog? David Berkowitz, son of Sam Killer. Yes, his dog told him to kill. And I'm worried that we're going to be on a flight and your dog's going to whisper to you, just open the hatch, just a crack, I got to take a piss. Is that where you want to end up? With David Berkowitz? Because that's the company you're in.